T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Movies and Beyond. Once again, I am Michael, and today it's Sunday. It's our live day. I'm here with Mad Matt from Mad Matt's Mass, as usual. What's up, my friend?
Oh man, not much, Michael. I'm excited about tonight, and it's a doozy.
It's not a pushover.
Ranking the top 10 horror movies of the 90s is it's got to be one of the hardest ones I've done. So, but I love that. So I'm super excited to be here, buddy.
I'm excited to be back here tonight too. It surprisingly, once I had my list, it was easier for me. Now, I don't know if it has something to do with, that time of my life in my 90s. I was a teenager, to late teenager, to up until 20 years old. So, I do have that little bit of disconnect in there from being a teenager that was more worried about, hanging out with girls, going to prom, getting a car, so it was a little bit, slower for horror for me. But they are movies that I do go back and revisit a lot. And I do feel really solid about my 10 that I put up there today.
And that's cool. That's interesting you mentioned that, because I'm right there with you, but it's something I didn't think about. Yeah, that time in my life, there is a lot going on,
Yeah.
Young teenager, and there's a gap where you're focused more on getting your license,
And that's why I'm always talking about, my military time. I had that gap, from 99 to 2004, where I really didn't see a whole lot in the theaters. It was more like, hey, I got some time, I'm going to go to Walmart. Hey, oh shit, this is a horror movie I've never seen before. Let me go ahead and pick it up.
Right.
Or we were deployed, and, it was all watching older stuff, at that point. So that is a little bit of gap for me. And I mean, you and I talked about, like Texas Chainsaw, the remake, when that came out in 2003.
Right.
Shit, I was deployed when that came out. You know what I mean? I didn't have access to a movie theater to say, hey, I'm going to go see a new Texas Chainsaw. It was more like late 2004, where I'm like, they made another Texas Chainsaw movie. Let me go ahead and check that out. You know what I mean? So there is little gaps here and there to where you're not, right on top of it, like you are now, to where it may cause, complications and saying, hey, or, I could come up with a list of 10 and be like, hey man, what about this movie? I'll be like, well, what the hell is that? I've never seen that before.
Now it's like, is my life too boring? Are we too on top of it?
Like, do I really know too much about it now? Like, what?
They're waiting for it to come out. Like, hey, 3 weeks. Okay, we got
somebody sitting here like, hey, I heard there's another Terrifier movie, and I'm standing there like, well, technically they got more money for it. It starts filming in July, and David Howard Thornton really thinks it's going to be better than the first one. To where
do I have a girlfriend? That's none of your business, but
to where 10, 15 years ago, I'm like, oh, for real, that's awesome. You know what I mean? And go about my day. It's definitely a little different. But let's see who we got in the chat. I'm excited to see who we got in the chat. I'm already a little bit behind. Dino's in the chat saying this stream is going to be so fire. So many bangers came out in the 90s. Yeah, definitely, man. There were some good ones going through this list for sure.
Dino.
Yeah, he's also saying, I'm already going to put that out there. The iconic Scream 96, baby. Yeah, man.
Can't hate on that one.
The horror corner's here saying, I'm so excited. I'm so excited too. Definitely looking forward to this
Horror
one.
Corner, it's great to see you on here, my friend. Great to see you on here, buddy.
Lydia's in the chat saying, Heidi ho, everyone. I believe that's her intro at this point. I think that I've seen that a couple times now. So that's the intro for Lydia there. What is up, Lydia?
How are you, Lydia?
Oh, shit, I lost my place. Oh, I'm losing my place already after the third one. That's great. Mad Mom, a.k.a. Teresa Stevens, is saying, hi, gang. Mad Mom here. This will be fun. Definitely.
Mother, love you. Always good to see you on here.
And James has entered the chat. James is saying, hi there, Mad Mom. I hope you had a great day today. I sure did. What is up, James?
Nice. I got the pleasure to hang out with James for most of the day, and man, it's always a good time. James, great to see you on here, my friend.
I was kind of hoping to see the shape today.
He's working on it. He's working on it.
I was kind of hoping to see that. Bye-bye Polar is here saying, hey, everyone. What is up, Polar? Another one of my great mods. It's always helping me out, reminding me to do all the things that I forget to do for myself. What is up, my friend?
Hello, Polar. Good to see you.
Jeff D'Angelo is in the chat saying, hello, everyone. What is up, Jeff?
Jeff, good to see you, my friend.
And Allison is in the chat saying, hello again, everyone. What is up, Allison?
Hello, Allison. Always great to see you in here.
Jeff D'Angelo is saying, Jeff, Amy, and Kaylee are present and accounted for. What is up, my friends?
Nice. Ladies, great to see you on here. Great to see you on here.
James Morant is in the chat saying, hey, guys, what is up, James?
Hello, James. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
The Horror Corner is saying, hi, it is Miles. What is up, Miles?
Yes. I got the chance to meet Miles. And Miles, welcome, my friend. I'm so glad you joined us. I think you're in for a treat, my friend. But great to see you on here, Miles. Great to see you, buddy.
And James is saying, once again, hi there, everybody out there in YouTube land. What is up again, James? How you doing, buddy? James Morant said 90s was a down decade for horror movies, but still had some good ones. It was a little bit down when you compare it to the 80s.
Absolutely. Yeah. But there are gems. There are gems definitely in there, man. There are gems in there.
Polar reminding everybody don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Again, doing things that I forget to do. Thank you again for that. Please hit that thumbs up button if you are enjoying the show, because that helps out the channel a bunch, you guys. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Michael, I don't even know if you need to worry about that with how good our mods are.
I know, dude. They come through.
Don't beat yourself up. They got it covered.
They come through.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I do my best, right? I do what I can.
Polar, I want to tell you, I got around to Scream 6, and we got to talk about that sometime. Oh.
Brittany Witten is in the chat saying, let's get this party started. What is up, Brittany?
Brittany, always great to see you on here, my friend. Hello, Brittany.
James is saying, hi there, Mike and Matt, or Matt and Mike. What is up, James?
Hello, James. Hello, buddy.
Allison is saying, hey, Matt and Michael, I can't wait to hear your list tonight. Yeah, they should definitely be interesting, and you know that they will not be the same.
And I don't know a thing about Michael's list, ladies and gentlemen. I love that.
Dude, we haven't really talked about any of it, to be honest.
And usually we talk a little, but I know nothing.
I think we did mention one thing, like, hey, did you know this movie was in the 90s? And
that's about it. That's about it. So, yeah, it's going to get crazy.
Sarah Campbell's in the chat saying, hey, what is up, Sarah? I've been on streams with Sarah before. Sarah is super cool, and we are definitely happy to have you here at Movies and Beyond. What is up, Sarah?
Nice to see you on here, Sarah. Welcome.
Let's see, I think that we are close. Oh, Polar has a message right here saying, oh, Matt, I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
I've got thoughts. I've got thoughts. And without saying too much, Polar, I will say I still want to talk about it with you. But you and Michael, I don't say this often. You guys hit it spot on. I'm right there with you on Scream 6. We will talk about it, but I'm right there with you. You hit it spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious complications with it, but you know, if you're a big Scream fan, you know what I mean, then it's, you know, you may enjoy it.
Colt, I wouldn't. You're saying if you are a big Scream fan, you might enjoy it, man. I don't know.
I mean, you know what? That's a whole nother stream and a whole nother conversation.
It is. It is.
I was about to just start throwing out random stuff here.
I wouldn't be surprised if Polar broke her television after that, like third act. But yeah,
it could have been
for another time.
Dino is saying, "Oh yeah, I remember you mentioned you and Matt have way different tastes in movies, so your list should be very interesting. I'm pumped." Yeah, Dino, it's definitely very different.
Yeah. I like the good ones, and Michael likes absolute garbage. Dino,
totally,
just garbage.
Totally,
like
yeah.
I need substance, a story, and Michael he's a goof. We want, just a bozo walking around in a hockey mask. But,
yeah.
So
like, Rob Zombie's Halloween for the, perfect art that it is with the dialogue and the substance and
no need to get nasty, Michael.
Anyway, Kim Black is in the chat saying, "Hey everyone, glad to be here." What is up, Kim? How you doing?
Oh, Kim, that is my good friend, longtime friend. She's been coming into the booth since we opened the place, and she's an old soul, loves the old school horror stuff. Carrie's her favorite. Kim, great to see you on here, my friend. She's got a lot to bring. She's got a lot to bring to the table for horror fans.
That's awesome. Polar is saying the third act, it's its own convo. It absolutely is.
Absolutely.
It definitely is. Ike is saying at this point, it's Scooby-Doo endings. Pull the mask off and reveal the killer. Ouch. Ouch.
John, great to see you on here, buddy.
What is up, man?
I got to check out Boogeyman with my boy John last night.
Oh,
but you make a great point. And John, Kim, great to see you guys on here.
All right, so I do have an article for everyone tonight, and I found this interesting due to a lot of what we had talked about with fan films. It's not so much about fan films; it's more about the conversations that we've had on this show about studio interference with movies and how we don't have to worry about that with fan films. And this is an article that came up on comicbook.com this week about the process of making the Halloween reboot with Rob Zombie and the Weinsteins. So I definitely wanted to go over this article. You know how I feel about Rob Zombie Halloween. You know how Matt feels about Rob Zombie's Halloween. And this doesn't have anything to do with whether you like the film or whether you didn't. It's more so the fact of the complications that they had with the Weinsteins and getting this movie made. And I kind of want to share some of that with you guys so you guys can see, when you get a movie that you make that you either like or don't like, that you were expecting to be better, it's not always the fault of the people making the movie with all the interference that the production, goes through with these types of people. And I definitely kind of wanted to shed some light on that, as well as, what Rob Zombie had to say when he was on a podcast about working with them. All right, so the title of this article was Rob Zombie reflects on the disastrous process of making his Halloween reboots. All right, so it's saying that Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2 not only offered audiences unsettling experiences on the screen, but the process of bringing the movies to life sounds equally stressful, with the filmmaker recently recalling the frustrating process of working with producers Bob and Harvey Weinstein to realize the films. Even when the first film was a success at the box office, the producers were frustrated that it wasn't more successful, and Zombie revealed that the only reason he even returned to make the follow-up film was to be able to get out of a deal in which he had to make a total of 3 films for the producers. So that's already going to put Halloween 2 in a hole. You're making this movie just to get the hell out of there. And I think that with that movie, you can see it. And Matt, you and I have talked about this before with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It just seemed like there was like no real effort, put forth into making this movie even fall in line, really with the first one.
Yeah,
it
seems like it was all over the place, and what you just read, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean he's really kind of bitter about that with them, to the point where he didn't even want to do Halloween 2, and he did it just to get away, from them. It's saying appearing on the Halloween Jesus.
It kind of sounds like
Howie Mandel's Does Stuff podcast. Zombie noted that the experience of making the first Halloween was craziness all the time, where like someone gives you definite notes on Friday, but by Monday they forgot about them. Making the movie was so challenging that Zombie found ways to intentionally deceive the producers in hopes of avoiding complications. Now, that is bad. You know what I mean?
And what I wanted to say real quick, so really it's like we've yet to have a Halloween 2 where the director was on board. It was even John Carpenter, he was not on board with Halloween 2. He did not want to do it. Rob Zombie did not want to do it. So, yeah, what is
title?
There a first with Halloween 2? I don't know. I've seen the trend here.
I mean, Halloween 2018 was kind of like a Halloween 2. It continued straight from, and then H2O continued. Well, that continues from 2. So I wouldn't really count H2O.
Just don't put the actual 2 in the title.
Yeah, if you don't put the 2 in the title,
it'll
be just fine, right? Like it'll be absolutely easy. He was saying, I made sure that the Weinsteins were always one day behind what I was shooting. I don't know how I tricked them, but they were like, this is what we want done on day 10, blah, blah, Zombie recalled. He'd say, no problem. I already shot day 10. I was shooting day 11 while they were yelling at me about day 10. So.
It sounds like a nightmare for Rob.
Yeah. Like, I mean, granted, I have my opinions about, what he did and how he did stuff. But at the same time, it's like, dude, this is a nightmare for everyone. Like, how can you make something great if you've constantly got somebody in? Dude, I find it hard enough to keep track of the chat, to read this article, and have a conversation with you. Can you imagine trying to be responsible for a huge movie when you got people just constantly barking in your ear? To do this, do that, do this, do that.
There's zero love that you're putting into it. You're literally making the movie to get out of a contract. Like, you have to have your heart and soul in a movie to make it great. I mean,
even with the first one, if somebody's just constantly telling you to do other stuff, at what point does this not become your movie anymore?
Right.
But yet you're liable for the success or failure of this movie, because if this movie comes out and bombs, they're going to be like this is a shit director.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, regardless, you take all of the risk. Now, granted, the Weinsteins are going to either make or lose money over it, but your reputation is on the line when you say, I'm going to direct this film. And not only does it say Halloween on the title, it says Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah, it all falls on him.
So, I mean,
the Weinsteins know that.
Right.
They know that. But where I come from, where I see it, if you don't hire a director you don't trust, if you're going to hire somebody to direct, let them direct.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you want to be
act,
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you want to be responsible for it, but I'm not going to be like, add this, add that, add this, take away that, add this. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can guide and whatever, but there's a fine line, man.
Right. The producers would offer their own suggestions on what Zombie should do with the material, which tipped him off on how their visions of the film weren't aligned. So basically, he's getting two different things from two different people. It was just based on crazy ideas. I was thinking last night it should be this suddenly. Sometimes the ideas got so crazy. The ideas would go insane. And then I would just think, okay, I have to realize I'm dealing with a crazy person. And then answer that way, Zombie recalled. While nothing that Bob and Weinstein did was very cuckoo. So when I read that, I'm thinking, okay, these guys are telling me two different things, that they're wanting the movies to go two different ways. you throw my ideas on, me making that, on top of that. And it's just like, how are you going to come out with something coherent and decent if you have three different people pushing?
It all shows in the film, Michael. It all shows in the film that they had no idea. There was not one. It shows that it was coming from all different directions. It does, and it's a shame because I was absolutely stoked for that movie.
Well, this gets even worse. Zombie wasn't the only one subjected to the Weinsteins' hostile attitudes, claiming that they would find a way to upset every single actor, and the experience felt like being in a crazy world. So, not only are you pissing off the guy making the movie, but you're finding ways to piss off the actors too. So you're creating a hostile work environment for one, because there's nothing like going into work. We all go into work and having everyone with a shit attitude.
And let me say this, Michael. By no means do I know everything about how Rob Zombie works and everything, but I've read enough to where, coming from Daniel Harris, coming from the Scout, I've heard that you take the Weinsteins out of the equation. I've heard Rob Zombie is extremely, I'll give him credit all day for this, extremely easy to work with. And not only that he gives the actors free reign, like a lot of the time, like to just be them, do their thing. He's not critiquing absolutely everything. So it's a shame because I feel like if you would go with that, take the Weinsteins out of it, make it a more enjoyable, everybody's not on their toes, looking over their back, it could have been a completely different film, man. But I've heard that time and time again, that he is easy to work with. And not only that, actors will say, was that good? Was that good? He's like, he gives them free reign, go with it. Is that what you feel? Go with it. So yeah, it's a shame, man.
Polar is saying Wes Craven used to do the same with the Weinsteins. I can't imagine. And I mean, someone like Wes Craven, dude, like you would think that you would just say, okay, this dude made fucking Nightmare. He made Scream. I'm going to let this guy do what he does. You know what I mean?
You would think.
You would think that. Dino is saying, I never understood why a studio would interfere. You hire a director because you trust that person. Let them make that's exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Russell Dorsey is in the chat saying, what's up, everyone? I smashed that like button before I came in this awesome stream. And chat, happy Sunday, everyone. What is up, Russell?
Great to see you, Russell. Great to see you, buddy.
Chris Davis is saying, sounds like Event Horizon had a chance to be an amazing horror movie, but the studio messed with it too much. And I know that there's a lot of examples of studio interference with movies to where they came out to be something that they weren't, supposed to be.
Hello, Chris. Welcome.
Dino is saying, I think the only thing a studio maybe should have a say on is what they want to do going to be. Hold on a second. I think the only thing a studio maybe should have a say on is if what they want to do is going to be the way over the budget. They're the money. You know what I mean? Like that's what they should worry about.
It's the Weinsteins. Look, it seems like they're just control freaks, man.
Yeah.
Control freaks.
James is saying the producers should have let the man make the movie that way, the way he wanted to. Yeah. And I mean, that's what it goes back to, us saying. But what this article is also saying, I guess he's pretty much not done with, a lot of the stuff. In hopes of taking more creative control of the project, Zombie claimed that the Weinsteins demanded he hire a new editor, which he did, but he stuck with the original editor as a replacement editor, instead did odd tasks around the office. So he basically kept the editor and let him still work there. He wouldn't fire him, even though he was replaced. For 14 years, Halloween held the record for the best Labor Day weekend opening, which still wasn't good enough for the Weinstein standard. So you're basically telling me that this movie came out, it broke Labor Day records, but yet the Weinsteins were still shitty about it, saying it didn't make the money. Then the day the movie came out, Bob calls me. This is Rob talking. Bob calls me at 10 a.m. He goes, it doesn't look good. This thing's a fucking disaster. And it's 10 a.m. Are there any theaters even open anywhere yet? I don't know of any theaters that open, at 10 a.m. So.
I've never seen a movie at 10 a.m.
Zombie Express. And then he calls me a couple hours later. We're adding more screenings. This thing's going through the roof. But then Harvey calls Bob and goes, if you listen to me, we could have done double. So then they started fighting. The number one record-breaking weekend isn't good enough because I was talking to some people in their office that were like, oh, it's a nightmare here right now. They're fighting. They're screaming at each other over why it's not 60 million. Dude, like, these are the things that I talk about with like the fan film stuff on how, you know, I'm so grateful that we get these movies and we don't have this type of, you know, interference with that stuff. Like that's why I wanted to read this article today. It doesn't fall into my normal line of, you know, movie update news, but it's definitely something that I wanted to share with you guys because of, so you could get a clear idea of, you know, what we're talking about when we say like studio interference is real, you know, and that's somebody who made a movie that was open and sharing, you know, it felt, you know, comfortable enough sharing what they went through in that process. You know, that's, oh man, that's definitely tough. How do you feel about that, Matt?
Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare, Michael. That sounds like a nightmare that I want to have nothing to do with.
I mean, it's
plain and simple. You know, I'm not even going to go into detail on that. It sounds like an absolute nightmare, and you know, in a sense, I feel bad for Rob. Like it just seems god awful. You know, Rob had a dream, and he's crushed his dream. You know, but he wanted to be Spielberg. I mean, I'm not comparing Rob Zombie to Spielberg.
Thank you.
He wanted to be Spielberg, you know, he wanted to be Alice Cooper. He wanted to be an artist. You know, he wanted to be all of that wrapped up in one. He's done it, guys. He's an established musician. He's an established director. He's an established artist. Rob Zombie has some incredible art that I think people don't know about. You know, he's done it all. But I highly doubt that his vision, as far as creating movies, when he was, say, you know, younger, I highly doubt his vision was anything like what he experienced working with, you know, the Weinsteins. Just sounds like an absolute nightmare. And I'm a big Rob Zombie fan, and I don't like all of his movies. But shoot, if I was to make 10 movies, you know, I'm sure there's, you know, I'm going to make some doozies. But as far as, you know, because everybody was so skeptical when he came out, you know, as a director and stuff, I give him a thumbs up. I think he's been very solid. You know, he's made some great movies. You know, he's made some not so great movies. But that shines a lot of light on his Halloween 2. It shines a lot of light on it.
Well, and not just that, but movies in general. I mean, how many movies could have been something that we're talking about or one of the best movies that we've ever seen?
Texas Chainsaw 3.
But then ended up not being because of that.
Yeah. If any of you guys dig into that, the production, it was a absolute shit show. And then you go watch the movie, you're like, okay, I can absolutely see why. But you don't know that until you really, you know, dig deep and, you know, and look into it. But as far as Rob's Halloween 2, I'm just I don't know. Maybe I'm too Michael nuts. I can watch that movie still almost any given time. But I can also admit it's not a great movie. And it does look like it's just coming from, and it looks like that. He's like, oh, I put this in because this guy wanted it. I put this in because, you know, this guy wanted it.
It looks like, hurry up, film this piece of shit. I'm done.
Yeah. Rush.
You know, like that. That's
get out.
Hurry up, film this piece of shit. I'm fucking done with it. Like that's the love I got. Matt, are you ready to rank some 90s horror?
I am, buddy.
I am too.
I am.
Let's drop it. I'm going to drop us out of here.
And let's rank some 90s movies, man.
I'm going to drop us out of here. Run this intro and we will come back and we will rank some 90s horror. I'm excited to do this one.
Me too. Let's do it.
All right. We'll be right back. Possibly. Hold on. Technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
Jones messed with the wrong melon farmers. Thug life. Here we go.
I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would have him.
Then I will avenge his death.
Hello, Sippy. Are you a god? Don't you remember? The Force will be with you. Always.
I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. There has been a little bit of chat while we were gone, and I want to catch up on that. I did, guys. When we did our anniversary show, like trying to manage 6 people on the chat and keep up with chat was a nightmare for me. So Matt and I were definitely talking about it a little bit. And if I didn't get to your comment that night, definitely I apologize for that. But if you were watching, it definitely went off the rails a few times, but was definitely a blast for sure.
And Michael, I also am, like what we talked about, I am more than happy to learn a little bit more of the, the things that you do to take some of that burden off of you, so that that take the burden off of you, and then we can get to the chat more. So
I will tell you this.
I'm down to do that.
The amount of people that were talking through that, like, it was amazing. Like the conversations that were being had, like I went back and rewatched it, and some of the conversations in the chat I had missed, and you guys are freaking awesome. Like just the conversations amongst yourselves alone are interesting, enough to where it's like, well, what are they talking about? Holy shit, what do they have going on there? It's you guys are awesome. Like
what I see with my vision is one day we gotta, like, if we could rent out some park and like us all meet up there, get a big screen out there, one of them blow ups, get everybody together, and like, because they are that awesome. This community that we're building here, that you guys are building it is awesome. And
it is. And I mean,
I don't think that's a stretch to say.
We go to a lot of conventions too. So, I'm wanting to try to branch out a little more with that. And if I'm going to a convention that's near any of you guys and you guys want to drop by and hang out with us, if we're there, man, more than welcome. Like, seriously, we love meeting people out, man. It's definitely a good time. By the way, James Drew Courtney just announced that he's going to be at Scarefest as well. So you can add him to the roster of, we'll definitely be in Scarefest in Lexington in October. And if anyone's in that area and are going, I encourage you to come up to us if you see us or be in contact with us.
Absolutely. Sure. And also, for those of you who don't know, I'm not sure. I hope Michael joins me, but for now, I will be at Horror Hound in Indianapolis, and I'll be there with Mad Matt's Mask, guys. We will have our booth set up. Um, all the great things we have, all the horror collectibles, that we have, we'll have that, all set up. But yeah, please come talk to me. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna get out there.
I will.
It's not far.
And I hope Michael comes. That's kind of why I was saying all this, just to keep pushing at him. But
I'm gonna get out there.
But Mad Matt's Mask will 100% be there. We are vending. We're gonna have some cool stuff, but yeah, come out, get something for yourself, or just come say hello and talk some horror. I'm always, I welcome all of it. So love to see you guys.
Definitely. Dino was saying, imagine some suit at a studio trying to tell Wes freaking Craven how he should be directing a movie. The audacity! I swear.
Seriously,
Yeah.
Seriously.
Russell is saying that the intro is always awesome. I appreciate that, man. I still need to make some changes to that. Definitely still need to make just little ones. I promise I'm not going to mess it up. Just some little ones. He is also saying, you are all my children now. I love that part.
Because the intro is
I love that
good,
part.
But Pumpkinhead. We need Pumpkinhead.
Jeff D'Angelo is saying, I will be at Scarefest, and I'm sure that I will see you there, Jeff, for sure. I saw Jeff at Horror Hound when I was talking to Bonnie Aarons.
I saw Jeff in person. I saw Jeff as a bloody bunny. Jeff was all over Horror Hound, man. It was awesome.
Teresa's saying, big screen outdoor horror movie sounds amazing. I've always wanted to do that. It kind of reminds you of like the drive-in days. Like, I used to love the drive-in.
And Kim, Darkroom Secrets, she just sent me a message not too long ago, and she bought this big, like, freaking blow up outdoor screen, and it wasn't, I want to say she said she dropped maybe like $200 on her or something, but yeah, it looks like so much fun.
That's awesome.
And if we could do that and get this horror group together, everybody from the chat, like, man, stop. That'd be so awesome.
Allison is saying, that is awesome about Horror Hound, Matt. Yes, it is.
Thank you, Allison. And it was not easy. It was not at all easy to become a vendor. And we are super excited. So yeah, come see us, guys.
Russell is saying, you need a clip from Nightmare on Elm Street 1. I'll do my best, man. I still feel like there's not enough.
That's gonna start flooding in. Here's what you do, Michael.
It's gonna end up being like 6 minutes long.
I'll just stop at Pumpkinhead. I would love to see a Pumpkinhead, but yeah, there's so much out there. But the intro is, and we wouldn't be saying that, Michael, if we didn't think it was fantastic. So it is, man. Kudos to you. That's an awesome intro.
Thank you.
I love seeing it.
You see that above your head there, Matt, on the screen? See what that is?
I do.
I remembered this time.
And I believe I go first.
I believe you do.
Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do this, guys. This is so horror 90s, man. Such a different decade from all the others, the 70s, the 80s. All right.
Give me number 10, baby. Don't hold back.
Sleepy Hollow from 1999, ladies and gentlemen. 1999. I saw this in the theater with my high school sweetheart. It was like my first high school date. I was a horror guy, and that was playing. I'm like, okay, let's check it out. And this movie holds up today. It's one. I know I say this. I probably say this too much, but it's a fun movie, and it's my go-to, guys, for when we start coming into fall and the leaves are changing, and because I'm sorry, but the atmosphere alone in Sleepy Hollow is so good. It is so good. You know, you've got Christopher Walken, you've got Johnny Depp. It just puts me in that, let's go, it's fall, Halloween's creeping. It puts me in that mood, man. I absolutely love the movie. I think it's underrated. And yeah, Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman, he was fantastic. There's some sick ass scenes in there, you know, from the witch was incredible. You know, I won't go on and on. I'll say really just what I said. It's an amazing ride to get you into the mood of Halloween, fall horror. It's so good. Like I do not want to go through the fall seasons without kicking it off with Sleepy Hollow, guys. It's got to make a spot for me. Johnny Depp was incredible. He always is. Christopher Walken was incredible. He always. Sleepy Hollow, number 10.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is definitely awesome. Jerry Wilson showed up and said, "Hey guys, hope all is well." What is up, Jerry?
Great to see you, Jerry. Jerry is on vacation and he's in an amazing place. I'm jealous, but glad to see that you made it, Jerry.
That's awesome. Chris Davis is saying, "Hey Matt, Jody and I are going to stop by your booth Saturday and would like to have a couple of 2X shirts, please."
Oh my God, guys, I don't have 2X. I please stop by the booth anyway, because I love to see you guys. The company that we got our shirts through could not do 2X. The biggest they go up to was XL. I'm going to try to change that around and go with somebody else so we can get some 2Xs in there, maybe even some 3X, whatever. I'm a 2X myself, so I'm sorry, but I'll get those for you. And you're always welcome to the booth. I love you guys.
Russell Dorsey is saying Sleepy Hollow is fantastic. It's definitely a good movie. Like I really like the atmosphere.
I'm glad to hear you say that,
yeah.
Russell, because I feel like that movie's like it's a hit or miss with people.
Yeah,
you know, it really is. But I've always loved it. I've always thought it was a little underrated.
Yeah. I'd just like to do that. I'd just like to say this before I get to my number 10. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up
Dracula's
button for me.
in that movie.
Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps out the channel. And we do this every Sunday at 8 p.m. Matt and I go live, as well as videos coming out throughout the week. And there's definitely short videos that are up as well. But my number 10.
Did you remember that, Michael, that Christopher Lee Dracula's in Sleepy Hollow?
I don't know.
He is the judge. That's, you know,
I did not remember that.
Yeah.
Dude, it's
just,
I can't even tell you the last time I watched
when you're talking
movie.
about Christopher Lee Dracula, that's just cool, man. That's cool.
I honestly can't remember the last time I've seen that movie, but I know that I've seen it. All right, my number 10. This was I had 11 movies I wanted on the list. But this is what I went with number 10. I am going with my number 10, Brandon Lee's The Crow. Number 10 for me. I absolutely love The Crow. When this movie came out, like when I was younger, it was like, this is probably the most awesome thing that I've ever seen in my entire life at the time. You know, the way it was shot, the way it looked so much different from everything else, you know, and the way that Brandon Lee was The Crow, the idea, it was unique to me. I absolutely love this movie. The Crow's just freaking fantastic. Can't rain all the time. I remember hearing that for the first time, and it was something that always stuck with me. You know, I probably haven't seen this movie in probably about a decade, you know, but at the same time, it still has that lasting impact on me. The character's been imitated. You know what I mean? His look was freaking fantastic. Definitely tragic what happened making this movie. The sequels were never able to recover, in my opinion. You know, I think that this
Agreed.
movie, in my opinion, now I'm not bashing anyone who thinks differently. This is a standalone movie for me.
Absolutely.
Like, to me, The Crow was born and it died with this movie. I think that when Brandon Lee was gone, I think that The Crow was gone. It's just what a fantastic movie. All the movies on this list have some sort of connection with, you know, and The Crow, man, that's definitely one of them. I absolutely love this movie, and it's my number 10.
And Michael, it sounds like you're due to watch The Crow. I cannot go 10 years without seeing The Crow. So if you want to come over and check that out, I'm always down.
I own it. Shit, I have it right here.
But
I just haven't watched it.
But-
It's just
that's a fantastic number 10, my friend.
yeah. It's just I absolutely love this movie, and I think that's probably all that we talked about for like 3 months after it came out. You know, me and my friends when it came out. You see The Crow. The Crow was fucking awesome. You know, the trench coat, the white face, the hair, the smile. You know, it was just, oh man, what a great movie.
Oh, I
Very
tried to dress like him, look like him, like for 2 years. It got weird.
Man,
But
37 and 38's a tough age, man.
so
Kind of trying to.
yeah, we're on my number 9, right?
Number 9, and I actually remembered to change it to number 9. Let's see what they have to say in the comments. I want to stay up on top of this.
I always want.
Jerry is saying that it's frigid where he's at right now, and he's saying that it's warmer at home. I'm sorry, Jerry. I don't know where you're at, buddy, but hope you're at least having a good time. Russell is saying Christopher Walken is good in anything he does. Yeah, great. I like Christopher.
He's
Walken.
a beast. He's a beast.
Russell Dorsey is saying The Crow is awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah.
Lydia is saying The Crow is incredible. I really wish I could have seen more Brandon Lee. For sure. I mean, Brandon Lee
Brandon Lee was just getting started, guys. It's I won't go on a rant. It was tragic. He was just getting started. And he was bound for greatness.
James Morant is saying when Brandon Lee died, see, that's what I think. I think that when he died, the franchise died. Like,
I don't think I even checked out.
I watched 2. I think it was called City of Angels, and
was.
I know the chat
was.
Yeah, and I saw it in theaters because I love the first Crow so much.
That went
and
to theaters?
And I came out like, no, I'm good.
I've never even gotten around to it, guys.
You're not in my opinion, you're not missing much.
I can't agree with you more that with both, with both you guys that the franchise died with Brandon Lee.
James is saying Sleepy Hollow was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
It was, man. It was.
I could say, ever see New Dark City from the same director? Ever? I guess he's saying ever see Dark City from the same director. I have not seen that, no.
I've not seen that, John. I have not seen that. But
Russell is saying I own The Crow on Blu-ray. I do too, sir.
Everyone should own The
Definitely
Crow.
do too.
Everyone should own The Crow.
James Morant is saying number 10, Wolf. So underrated. I don't know if I've seen Wolf.
Now, I know what he's talking about. That's Jack Nicholson, right?
I'm not sure.
I
on that one.
believe so. I believe so. Okay.
I am not sure.
Clear that up for us, James.
James is saying, I need to watch The Crow. I've never seen it. Sounds great. I need to find it. James, that needs to be a big priority, sir, because it is definitely a good movie.
Yes, James, I love you, buddy. That does need to be a big priority.
The movie's rock and roll as shit, man.
And it is rock and roll as shit, and it's so different. It is its own movie. It's on its own shelf, ladies and gentlemen.
Jerry Wilson is saying he is in California. What part of California, buddy? Anaheim, right down there. Read ahead. Katie from Popping the Popcorn is here saying, hi, friends. Another one of my great mods is here. What is up, Katie? How are you doing tonight?
Hello, Katie. Great to see you on here always.
Chris is saying, have a good night, everyone. Time for me to go to work. Well, I hate that you got to go to work, Chris, but have a good day at work, buddy.
I understand. And thank you for giving us your time, Chris. Thank you.
Dino is saying the OG Crow was awesome.
It was. I want to say I was the Crow for Halloween way too many times. My friends started saying, Matt, you're not doing the Crow, are you? Like
What you mean?
Yeah, why? Yeah. start
Right.
prepping to grow my hair out. And it wouldn't be long enough. I tried to make it work. It'd like come to here. Like it got weird.
Get your wig, man. It grows faster.
Yeah.
Katie for popping the popcorn is saying, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Katie. Thank you very much. The Hoarder Corner is saying, is that gasoline I smell?
Love it. Love it.
Russell is saying, Rapid Fire, great Brandon Lee movie. I don't know if I've seen Rapid Fire, so I will definitely put that on my list. Thank you for that, Russell. And James is saying, yes, Jack Nicholson, The Wolf. I think I have seen that. I'm going to check that out. I'll watch like a preview for it or something because it is sounding familiar to me.
I don't know if I've seen that one, to be honest with you.
Jeff D'Angelo is saying, my number 10, Interview with a Vampire.
Solid 10, Jeff.
Dude,
solid.
that was my number 11. That's all I'm going to say. Like, it was
Solid.
right there. Yeah, I love
Solid
that.
10, Jeff.
All right, Matt, number 9. Where you at, buddy?
Ladies and gentlemen, number 9, I'm going with 7. Brad Pitt.
What a good movie.
7. Yeah. Yeah. So good. Kevin Spacey in that film, guys. Brad Pitt along with Morgan Freeman. I talked with Mad Mom. I talked with my mother about this a little bit. You know, she's a Brad Pitt fan. She's not seen 7. I know my father has, but and that goes for anybody. If you've not seen 7, guys, that movie is so good. It takes like it for me. It's the best mixture of like police, detective, serial killer, horror work that I've ever seen. It's so good. It's so good. And do I need to even say how superb the acting is? You know, when you're talking Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, you know, it's second to none. And the suspense, and it's dark. It is dark, man.
Yeah.
You know, I would like if you're in a double feature drive-in, I could see you playing like Saul and 7, like, you know.
Yeah.
But absolutely love this film. I put it in the horror category all day long. Number 9 for me is 7.
It's definitely a great movie. I love shit. I saw 7 in the theater too.
And if I didn't say that was 1995.
Yeah, I was in the theater, high school.
7 came. I did not get the chance to see it in the theater. I saw it later on, and was blown away. And it's been a minute. I actually want to revisit 7 because it's been a hot minute. I want to check it out. It's so good.
I think that 7's probably like a once a year rotation for me.
Okay.
Like if I don't put the Blu-ray in, because I do own it on Blu-ray, it's on TV. You know what I mean? And that's one of those movies that if I'm switching through the movies, you know, the channels, that I'm sticking with it. You know what I mean? Like it's just one that I don't usually change the channel on if it's on.
I get it. It's like if you stroll across Braveheart, you can't keep going. You stop.
Right. My number 9. This movie had a lot of sentimental value to me. Probably from the time frame that I saw it in. It was the first Quentin Tarantino movie that I saw. That I remember seeing.
Okay.
And that's From Dusk Till Dawn.
Nice.
I absolutely love From Dusk Till Dawn. And it not only was the first time that I remember seeing a Quentin Tarantino movie, it was also the moment in my life that I fell in love with Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I would marry that woman, no questions asked. Hey, would you like to marry me? Oh, yeah, sure, fine. Yes, I would. And if I didn't bring up the Selma Hayek scene where she pours the liquor down her leg, off of her foot, into Quentin Tarantino's mouth, it's just like, at that point, I'm like, this is the most amazing woman I've ever seen in my entire life. But that is a tale of 2 movies. You know, it starts off as a crime movie, and then instantly you know, she goes from the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life to a crazy looking vampire.
And that's one of those movies when you watch it for the first time, you're just, yeah, such a wow factor.
Yeah, like it just goes from one extreme, you know, to another. And you know, and the amount of people that are in that, you know, Quentin Tarantino, George Clooney's in that. Hell, I think even Cheech Marin's in there. I think Danny Trejo's in there.
Tom Savini.
You know, Selma Hayek, Tom Savini. There are so many people in that movie. And I remember being a kid watching it, like, this is the most gangster vampire shit I've ever seen in my entire life. You know what I mean? Like, that movie has a lasting impression on me to where it'll always be in my list on 90s.
What's
you know?
the other girl in there from Natural Born Killers?
Oh God, what's her name, dude?
Oh,
You're
it's
talking
escaping
about
me.
Mallory.
It's escaping me.
It's Mallory. I bet
Yeah.
you Russell Wilson or Russell Dorsey knows.
I'm gonna
He
get
knows.
it. I'm gonna get it.
Who was Mallory in Natural Born Killers?
She was in
Nikki
Christmas
Mallory.
Vacation, man.
Shit, she's in freaking Yellow Jackets, and I watched
listen
Yellow
to
Jackets.
us. Listen to us. We know everything she's in, just not her name right now.
Yeah,
Brain farts are a bitch.
yeah, but I mean, she was a teenage daughter in that. I mean, what a great movie. I absolutely love From Dusk Till Dawn. Juliette Lewis, thank you very much.
Thank you. That was gonna drive me
James
insane.
Morant came through with it.
That was gonna
Yes.
drive me insane.
James Morant is also saying number 9, Night of the Living Dead remake. That was a good movie. It's
I'm not.
that
seeing
was a good
it,
movie.
guys.
Oh, it's got Candyman. Tony Todd's in it.
I've not seen the remake.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
the original.
Yeah. It's good.
So I
It's
should check that
really
out.
good.
Okay.
Jerry Wilson is saying Selma is amazing. She is. And he said, I drink mud water. Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
definitely.
can't even act like he's being stupid because
He's not.
I'd be right behind him.
He's not.
So yeah,
He's not.
I drink mud water. Came off her leg.
He's not. It's true.
She was stacked, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. And
She had that snake too.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Number 8. The 8 is on the screen.
Michael, I'm shocked. I did not think this was going to happen with the 90s. I did not think this was going to happen with the 90s.
Jason
But
Goes to Hell.
But I'm piggybacking Dusk Till Dawn.
That's
my
that's
number
what I'm
8.
talking about.
I did not think this was going to happen with us, especially with the 90s, man. I think it's cool. But yeah, I don't have much to say, guys. I won't get into, how hot Selma Hayek was. We all know that. The cast was insane. But and you know what? Here's one thing I'll say about Dusk Till Dawn. I thought Quentin Tarantino in that movie was amazing.
That's the first time I'd ever seen Quentin Tarantino. In my life.
And even really, his character, put in your bit, like he was out of his mind. And both, I watched this with my older brother Raymond. We both loved it. So I started to kind of be upset with some of his later movies where he wasn't in them because he was so good in From Dusk Till Dawn. He was so good. I even think that I'll go as far as say that he was underrated in that film because you don't hear a lot of people talk about it. But he was great in that film. And the whole fact, just like you said, you think it's this like, Crooks on the Run type of movie. You don't expect, and then boom, like the flip of the hat, you go into this crazy vampire film. It's so good.
Yeah.
But that's all I got, man. I won't go on and on.
And it was different from other vampire movies at the time.
Yes, it was.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's one of the things that made it. It was so much different than what I had seen, vampire movies being like when I saw that movie. Not to say that there weren't similar ones that I hadn't seen at that time, but to me, it just stuck out so much. It was so much different.
And could they ever transition more beautifully?
Yeah.
You've got Selma dancing, this mesmerizing music's playing. You know, you're watching this beautiful woman. You're mesmerized. You're watching Crooks on the Run. This girl's dancing, and the transition is, I don't think it'll never be. We'll never see anything like that. The transition was stupid good.
Yeah.
And then you go from that to all of a sudden she just becomes this demonic and
Yeah.
it was so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That also turned me on, Michael, to Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Now I might have seen Reservoir Dogs first. I can't really remember, but which I love that movie as well. But Dusk Till Dawn definitely, put it on the radar for me. It's got more of the horror aspect that I'd be into, but both films incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 7.
All right. My number 8.
You're 8.
I'm still 8, yes. May surprise some people. And it's really, well, I'll just come out and say it. It is Wes Craven movie. It is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Is number 8. That was so much different from the past nightmares that we've seen at this point. It always intrigued me on what they were doing with that. It always made me feel like, granted, it's not in my top nightmare movies, but it was a more wicked Freddy. It was a more vicious Freddy. Nancy came back to it. Nancy, but not Nancy, and it was so much different than anything that I'd ever seen at the time. And I really like this movie. And I think that it's the only one of the big 3, spoiler alert, that's getting into my list today. And I think that that's the one, if I had to pick from, what do we had? We had Jason Goes to Hell. I think that was the only one we had in the 90s. Jason X didn't come out until 2002. Freddy vs. Jason didn't come out until 2003. So we had Jason Goes to Hell. That was the only thing, that came out from the Friday franchise. Halloween in the 90s, I didn't mind H2O, but it really wasn't enough, for my list. Any of them to make, my list. This list right here. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I know that it's not for everyone. But it's definitely it definitely sticks out to me on what Wes Craven did with that movie. And yeah, it's number 8 on my list. Definitely want to keep that one.
All right.
Right. And I'm not going to break down the full movie. I think we've done that 2 or 3 times at this point on other shows. But I will go to number 7. But before we do go to number 7, let's go ahead and catch up on the chat. James Morant is saying people say he can't act Tarantino, but he was good in that movie. He was good.
I agree. I agree. I thought he was great.
Jerry Wilson is saying Nightbreed.
He signaled the Ranger. He didn't signal the Ranger. You just wanted somebody dead. He played crazy. So stupid.
Yeah. Dino is saying, I know it's not the 90s, but since we're talking vampires movies, Salem's Lot is a great one for me. Yeah, Salem's Lot was awesome.
It don't matter what we're talking about. If it pops in your head, say it. Yeah, Salem's Lot. Yeah, absolutely.
The Horror Corner is saying, I like Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I did too.
Miles, I'm glad you like that one, my friend.
Polar is saying, I still need to watch Nightbreed. I was just about to say what Russell is saying. Nightbreed is on Tubi, Polar.
Okay.
Everything's on Tubi.
Tubi's kicking ass, man.
I watched Cocaine Shark on Tubi today, which is a masterpiece. Let me tell you guys. An absolute masterpiece. I haven't seen a masterpiece like that since I saw the Shawshank Redemption.
You got homework now.
Jerry Wilson is saying it's a killer movie. And James is saying, never seen Dusk Till Dawn. I always thought it was a war movie. I stand corrected. Yeah.
I hate we ruined that for you, James.
James, it's not ruined. You should definitely check that out for sure.
No, it's not ruined, but
worth the watch.
It's so good. Dusk Till Dawn is so good. And I want to talk about
Polar is saying we all know my love for Tubi. Yeah, everything's on Tubi. telling
it's
you.
free.
And that's the biggest part about it. It's free.
You know.
Tubi is free.
What the hell, well, guys? Let's face it, nothing's free today. So if something is, I'm gonna run with it, man.
Yeah, I think I'll be doing a review Tuesday, and I'll put it here on YouTube of my review for Cocaine Shark because I feel like there's plenty I have to say about that movie, and I will put some clips in as well. So be looking forward to that if you want to hear my take on this masterpiece, this 2023 masterpiece.
Wow.
And Russell's right away saying, "I don't know about a masterpiece, Michael." You know my humor at this point, Russell. All right, Matt, what do you have for number 7, brother?
All right. Got a juggernaut. In my opinion, I'm going with Stephen King's Misery.
Oh, all right.
Guys, if you watch this for the performance alone by none other than Kathy Bates, I don't know, I believe I've said this before, but I put her up here in a category of her own. This woman can act with the best of the best. And you talk about transitions, her transitions from this happy-go-lucky, you doozy, you knucklehead, to straight out terrifying psycho bitch. Nobody does it like Kathy Bates in Misery. Period. And the story is great. If some of you out there have not seen Misery, you got to check it out. It's so good. It is so good. It takes that number one fan to a horror level like you wouldn't believe. But I watched this as a young kid, and it was one of those movies, man, where, and I've spoke about this on the channel. Some movies take me a minute to digest and stuff. Not that one. That was a masterpiece in my opinion from the very first watch. But for her performance alone and her transition into just madness and her creepy factor, Misery, man. This is a movie I can go on and talk about, but that boosted her to she's my number one female actress to this day is Kathy Bates. She that woman is amazing, and I love that movie. That's classic Stephen King. That's Stephen King at its best, if you ask me. It's Misery all day.
Number 7 for me is Misery. So yeah.
Oh, shit.
No shit.
What the hell?
Now, granted, when we said Dusk Till Dawn, that was my number 9. It was your number 8.
Yeah.
But Misery, no, we both hit
That's
the nail on the head. James Caan, Kathy Bates. It's suspense. It's horror. It's brutal. It's a great story. And it's
crazy.
Terrifying on what a fan could really be like. You know what I mean? Like it's just freaking, like, the extent that she went to. She didn't just want to be, she wanted that story to go the way she wanted it to go. And she was going to make sure that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I mean, like, when she would leave and he's trying to get out and she's coming back and you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean?
It's on your toes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just Jesus. I mean,
I want to watch it tonight.
Dino is asking, Dusk Till Dawn. That's the one with Selma Hayek, right? Oh God, Dino, is it ever? Oh, buddy, is it ever?
I think she makes an appearance.
She makes up.
She's like one of the bar backs or something, and you see her for a split second.
She's like the halftime show. Let me tell you, she is something else.
Yeah.
Teresa's saying it's for the best. Kathy Bates line.
Yes, it's for the best. That is such a great line.
Oh,
It's-
Dino's asking a great question. And you know what, Dino? I don't really know which way to go on this. What's the better transition into Psycho? Kathy Bates in
Oh!
Misery or Jack Nicholson in The Shining?
I don't want anything to do with that question.
I-
I don't want anything to do with that question.
Dino, you're killing me, bud. That's a
Give me-
hell of a question.
Give me a week or two to get back with you, Dino.
I'm gonna think about that throughout this show.
That's one of the best questions I've. Oh,
I can't just throw an answer out there because I'll be thinking about it later.
That's apples.
You know,
and
like,
oranges.
did I make the right choice?
Um,
And I'll have to think about this one for sure. Great question though, Dino. Jesus, what a great question. The horror corner. I know these aren't 90s, but my favorite horror movies are Curse of Chucky and Annabelle Creation. Definitely. love Annabelle
nothing
Creation.
at all wrong with that, my man. Great movies. Great movies. Yeah, great movies, my man.
All right, Matt. Let me go ahead and change this up here.
Michael,
because
that shocked me, man.
What, Misery?
Yeah, just that.
I thought
Boom,
so.
boom.
Here's an honest. I thought when I had Misery at number 7, you were gonna be like, "What? Number 7? It should be like number 2 or number 3." I thought it was gonna be higher on your list, because I know you talk a lot about Misery. It's
I
just-
do like.
but then again, when you're breaking down a decade into 10 movies, you know what I mean? These are all gonna be movies that you like. Hell, there's what do I have? 9 freaking honorable mentions. You know, and I did that in like 2 minutes.
you're absolutely right, man. When you're
Yeah,
talking
it-
9
it's just-
from a decade, yeah.
It's just freaking
Yeah,
great.
we're not talking 9 from 91, 92.
Lydia's saying Jack Nicholson for the staircase scene alone.
Ugh. Now, Lydia, are you saying that he's taking the cake over Kathy Bates for the staircase alone? Is that what you're going with? Just clear that up for us.
Pretty sure.
The staircase scene is amazing, but God, have you seen the scene where she breaks his freaking legs with the sledgehammer? It's for the best. That absolutely, in my opinion, equals the staircase scene. It at least equals it. Kathy Bates is amazing, and
I
so
love
is
Yellow Jackets, Russell.
so
by the
is
way.
Jack. I forgot what we're on.
We are on number. Holy shit, we're on number 6.
All right, number 6, guys. This movie has still to this day. I've slowed down. When I was younger, tons of rewatchability. It's one of my go-tos, and I'll say I was talking with my father earlier today. You know, I always stick to my guns. There's movies where I can even say, I know this is a better movie, but I base my opinion on what's my go-to to watch. Okay, period. What am I putting in? And I'm going with Stephen King's It, the original with Tim Curry. From the moment I watched that, this Pennywise character absolutely just, I was captivated.
See that
You
on
know,
the screen? That's for
and-
you.
and
That's
for me?
for you. Yeah, that's for
Oh.
you.
Oh,
That's definitely for you. Might as well both talk about it. My number 6 is It. Stephen King's It. So let's go ahead and talk
we
about
didn't
it.
talk about this, guys. I
Let's-
swear we didn't.
This never happens with us ever.
No, it doesn't. That's great though. It's great, man.
Proceed, sir.
Yeah, just and it was that first movie with the young, you had that connection with the kids, and then you got that second half where they're adults. Tim Curry was just stupid good as Pennywise the Clown. I want to hear what you got to say, Michael, because I want to keep stealing your stuff, man. I mean, I've already got you flipping me off. What's that?
You know it's all love.
I do,
You know,
but
it's
yeah,
all
I mean, I'm serious. I want to hear what you have to say about
Stephen
it.
King's It was why I was scared of clowns as a young kid. When it came out, this movie, I know it was a made-for-TV movie. I know it was in 2 parts, and as I got older, I tend to not like the ending of it. you know, the way that
Same.
it ended.
Same.
But you know, man, the way they did, I like the first part better than I like the second part, you know, but I was a big fan of Night Court, and Harry Anderson was in it. You know, he played Richie. Beep beep Richie. You know, I absolutely love this movie. I still own it on Blu-ray today. You know, I have both of them. I love the remake, don't get me wrong. You know, I have both of them, and Tim Curry was freaking amazing in this movie. You know, the way that the kid actors, I feel like they did a great job, you know, especially for the time frame that this movie came out in. You know what I mean? And there's always been movies with good kid actors, and the first one that comes to mind for me was Stand By Me when that came out. You know, those kids were freaking amazing in that movie. And this was a lot like that for me, you know, because, you know, being young, the time frames were kind of close to each other. You know, it had taken place earlier. You know, it was, I believe it was like what, the 60s that you know, the original was supposed to take place in. And I love this movie. You know, it was so good. There were so many different things that they had to.
And it was creepy for its time.
Well, it was. But there were so many things these kids were dealing with. You know what I mean? Like they were friends, and not only were they dealing with the struggles of not being the popular kids at school. You know, they were getting bullied, they were getting beat up. And now they got this damn clown that's trying to kill them. You know what I mean? And the friendship in the movie, it made you really care about the characters. So it made you really invest in the characters. So you gave a shit about, you know, what happened to them. And a good movie will
nailed back in.
Yeah. And a good movie will always pull you in like that. It will make you care about the characters, you know, so that you're more invested into the story. If you care about the characters, you're more invested, you know, you gives you someone to root for. And Stephen King's It, you know, the first time I saw it, I remember I was a kid. I was spending the night at my friend Matt's house when I was a little kid, and he had this movie on VHS, and we watched it. And when it was over, I was like, man, that was freaking awesome. We watched both parts back to back, like 4 hours. You know, it was freaking long. But I instantly loved that movie. And man, Tim Curry, there are just certain scenes with Tim Curry in it that, you know, when he's standing there and his face changes from the smile to that look that he has on his face, that downward, like almost angry freaking, that's an image that's always stuck in my head. You know, I absolutely love that movie.
I have a lot stuck in my head from that one. I do.
Yeah.
And that tells you the impact. And two scenes I go to is you know, when the old lady is drinking the blood coffee, and like, dude, that was so creepy. And they run out of the house and turn around and he's there. Also, when they're looking at the book and he comes from like in the circus and, you know, dances and gets right up in their grill, you know, dude, like, yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, I absolutely freaking love it.
But I'm right there with you too. I want to even say as a kid, a lot of times I'd watch it and get to the end and just kind of abandon it. I was never the biggest fan of the ending. And it's a shame because, like, say it had a, you know, ending that I felt even somewhat of, you know, as much I was intrigued about, you know, the rest of the movie, it could really climb up some notches there. It's a fantastic film, but I just wasn't big into the whole spider transition thing. And
yeah, I wasn't either.
You know,
I thought it was going to be more,
but hell, it was in the book, you know, so, you know, I get it, but that's where the movie, it's a shame, but dude, so good up until then.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's 2 in a row. That's unheard of for us.
Again.
That's so unheard of for us.
It'll never happen again.
All right, so that was number 6. We are halfway through our list.
I reckon Selma Hayek dance scenes or something like that. They'll never happen again.
I should have had a clip for that, just for everybody to see, you know, what I was talking about. I should have clipped that out. It's just been like, what kind of show is this?
We're gonna take an intermission.
We're gonna take it. We'll be back. We're gonna get something to drink and go to the bathroom. And while we're gone, be entertained by Selma Hayek dancing in Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, kind of like a intermission. I doubt that there'd anybody that would be disappointed in that one.
We come back, we got 30 more people in the chat.
You have 217 people watching. It's like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna do this every week.
You have 1,300 subscribers.
Yeah. Well, let's celebrate. Thank you, Selma Hayek. Sent her a message on Instagram that she never read. I just want to say, but since we are halfway through, I do want to remind everybody in the chat, hit that like button if you can for me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I urge that you do, because we do this every week at 8 o'clock, as well as throughout the week. There are plenty of shows to watch and plenty of content. And I won't let you guys down for sure. Matt, number 5.
5. I think this is where some hate's going to start coming. Possible.
Well, yeah.
Scream. I'm going with Scream, the original.
Top 5 out of a decade. It's not too bad.
Okay. Scream, guys, the OG. And I've said this before. I'm one of the guys that would have been okay if this was a standalone movie. Now, granted, I must have liked it enough to where any Scream that comes out, I'm going to check it out. But I'm by no means right there with Polar. I'm not on this, big Scream wagon. But that OG was different. And it was something we needed at the time that it came out. Let's not forget about that. Like, horror was in trouble, guys. Horror was in trouble. We were starting to see all of the same. Literally all the same. It was remakes of this, remakes of that, or part 2s, 3s, 5s, 9s. And we needed something to kickstart it, refresh the genre, and Scream did that. I don't know if I've seen anything since, revive horror like Scream did back in
96.
It's 1996. For whatever reason, I was always like, it was either 94 or 96. So 1996, Scream came out, and it was such a good film with, the whodunit, the horror, the masked killer. It had that, young, high school kids, bring them together. And the cast, guys, was so good. Skeet Ulrich, Mad Mom, was amazing. Matthew Lillard was amazing, and they got you were invested. And guys, and the ending, I didn't see that coming. I did not pick the killers. I did not pick that there were 2 killers. They had that shock value. The whole phone call thing. It was different, and they nailed it. And then they nailed it at a time that us true horror fans needed it. So you guys have all seen Scream. I don't need to say a whole lot. I hope I hit the big parts there, but they did. Wes Craven brought something new. He could not have picked a better cast, even down to Jamie Kennedy as Randy, guys. Who could not relate with Randy? That freaking lover of horror. The relatability alone was insane. The Scream, guys.
Scream 6.
Not Scream 6, but the original Scream. It was a game. I hate to say that word because it's like a popular word, but it actually was a game changer. And it revived us, down to Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, guys, is Dewey. Come on. I can go on and on. Scream.
Right. Russell is saying Scream 96 at 5. It's not bad. At least it wasn't 10.
I know we got some big Scream fans out there.
Oh yeah, we do. Lydia is saying Scream was the first horror movie that I ever saw when I was little. Love it to death. Sparked my love for horror.
And that's so cool to hear, because that's something that Lydia, you'll always keep with you. Whatever, sparked the first, that sparked your love. Yeah, that movie's gonna be untouchable for you.
Polar is saying happy it made your list.
I'm a Scream 1 fan.
Jerry is saying, everyone take care. I gotta run. Be safe. Until next time. Matt, I'll get a hold of you, buddy. Take it easy, Jerry.
Yeah, man. Enjoy your vacation, buddy. Yeah, we'll talk. I'm glad you made it, man. Glad you made it for a little while.
Matthew Lillard is in the new FNAF movie, Five Nights at Freddy.
Okay. I've heard that, and for you Five Nights at Freddy fans, man, you can't ask for a better actor to be in that film. So, Miles, I hope you love it, my friend. I hope you love it.
Teresa saying Skeet and Lillard were so impressive for being so young. They did,
and they were so young in that. Yeah, they were.
Polar is saying there isn't one character from the OG Scream who I thought was annoying or bad casting. Perfect characters. They were good characters.
Agreed.
Lydia is saying The Exorcist was on last night. It got me thinking of you. I remember that. That was what a line. Hey, by the way,
got
The
you
Exorcist
thinking of
was on
who?
last night.
What did she say?
Had me thinking of you.
The Exorcist rocks.
That was Skeet's line to Sydney when he came through the window.
Okay, my bad.
Teresa is saying it was such a perfect cast. I totally agree. It was. James is saying Scream was great. I loved it. Teresa is saying Scream was my number 3. It was number 4.
Okay. Something.
Polar is saying Scream is my number 1. No surprise there.
No.
Jerry is saying The People Under the Stairs.
Okay. Jerry had to throw one more out there.
He had to throw one more out before he went.
I can't forget The People Under the Stairs.
My number 5 is a movie that we've already talked about, and it was 7. 7, and I'll touch on it a little bit because we did go over it. We did talk about this one already. But the way they incorporated the 7 deadly sins into the movie made it, the investigation throughout the movie, the surprise ending, the one that's probably most quoted from the movie. What's in the box? You know what I mean? And it's just, what a great cast. What a great movie. You can't go wrong watching 7.
No,
you can't. It's we pretty much talked as much as we could about this one, but yeah, it was fantastic, and it made my number 5. I absolutely love this movie. All right, let's see. We are down to number 4, my friend.
Now I'm looking at my list and 6, 5, 4, 3. I've got where I've got arrows where they could be reversed at any given time, and that could go for my whole list, guys. So I won't sit here and look at them and be like, which one am I choosing? It's hard. These lists are not easy. 4, Candyman.
Candyman.
I'm going with Candyman. The Candyman can, guys. And if I had to say one reason why, scary as shit. Movie scared the shit out of me. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't that what horror movies are supposed to do? And I can get scared. I'm not the guy that sits here and says nothing scares me. But not a whole lot does. Candyman absolutely did. That movie was frightening, man.
Tony Todd was awesome.
It was frightening. And the suspense, the atmosphere, and that's really what I got to give it to, is just how terrifying that film was. And being older now and going back to watch it, obviously, I've seen it over a dozen times. It's not as scary, but I still get it. I still can watch it and see why I was terrified. That movie, the dream sequence with her waking up in the blood and the boy going into that restroom area, guys, that was horror. That was horror at its finest, if you ask me. And yes, Tony Todd in that voice alone, like, stop it. Like, just they could not have cast a better person.
Yeah, Tony
But-
Todd's voice is in a lot of stuff. Like they use him for a
and
lot.
for good reason.
Yeah.
For good reason. It's up there with the James Earl Jones shit. Like, it's a voice when they talk, exactly who's talking. Like, but it was just horror to me, and I couldn't get enough of it, guys. To this day, if you want to put in Candyman, I'm down. It is just what I think about when I think of a good, scary horror film.
Mhm.
And I watched the shit out of it. So I got to put it up there for its rewatchability and for just how well it nailed, hit the nail on the head with true horror. Is the best way I can describe it. That movie.
Yeah, and it was different. You know what I mean?
It was.
When it came out. So
was.
yeah, Candyman's a great one. That is a good. I love Tony Todd. And when
I do
Candyman came out, it was just like,
I do too.
I ain't
do
saying
too.
that shit. You know what I mean?
No, I won't say it now. I wouldn't say it when I was 9. I'm not
What
going to
was
say
that
it.
on? Was that?
I'm not going to say it now.
Damn it. Oh, I can't even remember. There was something I was watching recently. It might have been It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm not sure. It was something along those lines, but they were in a courtroom and one of the guys, it was, he was about to get, sentenced to something. And he was just like, Candyman. And the guy's like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? You're going to die. He's like, no, he'll help us.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was from though, but it stuck in my head.
Michael, you and I, we could have a little sleepover, and I'm not going in there and saying Candyman.
Candyman,
I'm
yeah,
not doing
right,
it.
yeah. Definitely.
On that note, I'm going to take a quick little restroom break, my friend. I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, I'll go through some of these comments while you're gone.
Candyman. No, thank you.
All right, so let's see. Polar is saying I haven't seen the newest Candyman. It's good. I still prefer the original, but it's good. It's definitely good. Lydia is saying I still need to watch Candyman. Yeah, if you haven't seen the original, it's definitely it's definitely worth a watch. It's good. I enjoyed it. Probably more so in the 90s than I do now, but I really loved that movie when it came out. Jeff D'Angelo is saying my number 4, John Carpenter's Vampires. That's definitely a good one. That's definitely a good one. Russell is saying I'm putting Urban Legend. I really like that movie. It throws, all those urban legends together, all those stories that, when you were a little kid that you thought that they were true. Definitely a good movie. Danielle Harris is in that movie too. I like it. Teresa is saying my number 2 is Silence of the Lambs, and my number 1 is Misery. I love Silence of the Lambs and Misery. You know what I think of Misery. James is playing with fate. He's saying Candyman. Said it 5 times. And the horror corner is saying no. James, you're a trip. You're definitely a trip. I remember seeing Candyman. I saw Candyman in the theater. It was definitely different. And it was another one of those movies that, we talked about with our friends a lot when it first came out. It was just so much different than everything else that was, going on at that time. It was I enjoyed it. My number four, getting to my number four is a little different, but it's definitely a movie that has a lot of rewatch value for me. It's something that I watch, I don't know, I'd say like once or twice a year. Um, and it's not straight horror. It has some comedic elements into it. But I love the way that they did it, and I absolutely love this movie. Kevin Bacon, um, Fred Ward, they did a fantastic job in this. This is another movie that I used to watch with my father, and it has a lot of sentimental value. My number four is Tremors.
Okay.
Tremors was another one of me and my father's movies that we watched. And it was so, you didn't know whether it was like, oh shit, that's scary, or holy shit, that's hilarious. It had a lot of memorable characters in it. And it kind of gave you that feeling, towards the middle and the end of the movie of like, no, don't go on there. Don't go on there. Like jump up on this, jump up on that, because the graboids were so awesome. And for a 90s movie, they looked really good. Like they looked really good for that time frame. But I absolutely love Tremors. That's in my top four.
I want to say who takes the cake for me on Tremors is the what's the guy's name? Who's the big like army guy with the arsenal?
Yeah, that's the dude from
what's his name in Tremors? Is it with the B?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Shit, I can't even remember Kevin Bacon's name in that movie.
He took the cake for me, man. I thought he was so funny.
They had that firefight at their house. You could hear it off in the distance, and they ended up killing one of them. But they had all that ammo and shit in their basement.
Yeah, yes.
Guns out the ass, so they were trying to save the house.
The guy I'm talking about, somebody clear that up for us, but he stayed throughout the franchise.
Did he? That's another one.
I want to say Bert.
It might have been. That sounds right.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
But that's another one of those movies. Like after the first one, I was just kind of like, eh. You know what I mean? Like the first one for me, it was just that was the best one, and the rest of them were just kind of.
Michael, that's what's crazy about horror too, because
yeah.
So I like Tremors, but it's I'll say it's not my top 10.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can do, if somebody says, hey, you want to do a Tremors marathon, I'm down. Like, you couldn't get down with that? Like, none of them are near as good as the original, but I think they're all kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. First one for me. It's kind of like.
Okay, one and done.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't get the main characters back. I think that Fred Ward came back for one of them, if I'm not mistaken, but, you didn't get like Kevin Bacon coming back or anything like that. So
you got Bert though, buddy.
You got Bert. That's the most important thing.
Like he cracked me up. There was one, I don't know, it could have been Tremors 5, but where I guess he's like retired, and they call him, and he's like in his basement in his underwear, like watching war movies, like he has nothing to do. They call him, and he's trying to act like he's like so busy, like it was just a riot. But he's literally watching like, shoot out the old cake around his freaking tiny whiteies. Like, it's so good.
And see, that's one of the movies that horror comedy really works for me. You know what I mean? Like there's few and far between on, horror comedies if they're really good or
yeah.
Not. I think that the Tremors does a good balancing job with that. Definitely.
No, I agree, James. No. I've heard, guys. I gotta say, I've not seen Near Dark, or I haven't. I don't remember it, but I hear the biggest mixed reviews about Near Dark. I've either heard it just sucks, or people love it.
Russell is saying Michael Goss, Bert Gummer.
So okay, it is Bert.
Yeah, because his wife's like, Bert.
Bert takes the cake for me on Tremors, man. He's a riot. Thank you for that. He's a riot.
Number 3.
All right, 3 for this guy. Oh man. Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah.
Silence of the Lambs. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait to watch this film because this is a movie that my parents were watching and they shunned me. They said I could not watch this. I was not old enough. They sent me to my room, okay? And I think I remember even trying to like peek through, like that just piqued my interest that much more, right? I was not allowed to see this film,
I
and
think I did the same thing with Eddie Murphy Raw.
that makes sense. That can't call them bad parents on that. So I was not allowed to see this film, and I just could hear it, and I could hear all the excitement, the suspense. Like I was just So when I got around to seeing this movie, holy shit. And there's only one, there's one and only Hannibal Lecter, guys. This movie is a standalone classic. Anthony Hopkins is Hannibal Lecter, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone can make an argument that there's no other horror character that touches him. And you really, good luck arguing it. That's all I gotta say. Good luck. His performance is it's I don't have words. Yeah, I don't. It's so good. It's so good. Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter is something we'll never see again. And you know what? In Buffalo Bill, Anthony was so good, people forget about Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill was fantastic, guys. His performance was amazing. This movie, just, when you've got the cop, the FBI, the drama, the horror, the cannibalism, it brings it all. It brings it all together with amazing performances. I can't say enough good things about Silence of the Lambs, guys. It's something we'll never see again. It was so good. It was so good. The story,
Definitely a good movie.
Sterling, and good is just an understatement, like a slap in the face. I actually am
definitely good.
I actually am at a loss for words. I know, I'm sorry about that, but it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Russell is saying Reba McEntire played Burt Gummer's wife. She did play Burt Gummer's wife. That was Reba.
Yes. Yep.
Was Reba. Dino is saying, sorry, I'm not in the chat more. I'm at work. Well, we definitely appreciate you joining us at work, Dino. Definitely appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. And just
happy you're here, bud.
The little bit of time you have is, means
Russell
everything.
is saying number 3, Needful Things. That's a movie that I probably not seen since the 90s, but the fact that it is your number 3, I'm going to go back and watch that.
Agreed. I've seen Needful Things, but it's been a minute. Is that a Stephen King? Is Needful Things a Stephen King? Clear that up for me, Russell. Unless you know, Michael.
I have no idea. Lydia is saying it puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the hose again. Every time I hear that, I think of the movie Joe Dirt.
Dude, that's
all right. It puts the lotion on the skin.
I'm just curious, but Silence of the Lambs is one of the few times I'm at a loss for words about like how to talk about it. It's just, it's so good. The story,
well, I still got to get to it. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Teresa is saying you just told on yourself, Matthew. You're in trouble. You are in trouble. James is saying love Silence of the Lambs.
What's new? Always in trouble.
Russell is saying actually the dude from Hannibal TV series did an excellent job as Hannibal Lecter. He did a fantastic job.
And I've heard that.
He did a freaking great job. I freaking love that show.
It's still on my list, guys. I get so much hate for not seeing that. It's on my list.
Yeah.
And I've heard nothing but good things about that. And what huge shoes to fill. Like, I don't want to mess with that. Like,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
no,
he jumped right in there, man, and
you
he
know,
did a great job. And
I'm
if
just
anything, he expanded on the character more than the movies could do, because the movie's 2.5 hours long. You had Red
sure,
Dragon, which is two and
sure,
a half hours
sure.
long. You had Hannibal,
You know, I'm not
but
touching that.
he did a really good job. Allison is saying there's so much in that movie that it just sticks in your brain. You can't get it out. It's one of my all-time favorite. It's a great movie.
It is so good. So good.
Darkroom Secrets is saying Martha Stewart left Anthony Hopkins because he played that role. It freaked her out. I did not know that.
I did not know that, and great to see you, Kim. Darkroom Secrets, great to see you on here, my friend. I did not know that. Wow.
Both Russell and Allison are saying that it's Stephen King.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they would definitely know.
Okay. I thought so. And I know that now. Who was it that played the original Sterling? That was
It's Jodie Foster.
okay. I know she did not come
Starling,
back.
yeah.
I know she did not come back because the role freaked her out that much. She would not come back, and that's a shame because she was fantastic.
Jeff D'Angelo is saying Silence of the Lambs is my number 2.
Nobody's hating on that, Jeff. Nobody's hating on that.
Russell is saying Hannibal TV series is still on Tubi. You got homework. We've been telling you to watch that for a minute too.
I know.
Get on that one, sir.
I do work a lot, guys, but I'll get on it.
James is saying a little brain salad and hurt yummy. Right. My number 3 is definitely a little different. It is a foreign film that scared me pretty good the first time I saw it. It was also an inspiration for a movie that came out in America in the 2000s, and it was Ring, or Ring You, whichever way you decide to say it. And this movie, oh God, you guys, if you don't mind subtitles and you haven't seen the original version of The Ring, it's great. Like this movie, I'm a big Samara fan, and this is the original Samara, without a lot of the CGI. And there's one scene in particular that really gets me in this movie. It's after she comes out of the TV. If you've seen the regular Ring, it's a lot of scene from the American version. Granted, there are some differences, but if you've seen one, you've pretty much seen the other one. But I still urge you to see the original if you haven't seen it. I'm not really sure where you can see it right now, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere. And you don't mind reading the subtitles.
So you're talking about the original Ragu?
Well, Ring You, yeah. the ragu that goes on the spaghetti there.
Spaghetti sauce. Got you.
Yeah.
I was sorry.
This is
Ringu.
This is where that started. You know what I mean? This is the original vision of what that movie was supposed to be. Now, granted, I am by no means bashing The Ring. By no means bashing The Ring. I am a big fan of the American version of The Ring. This one right here, it wasn't as it didn't have like the CGI that The Ring had, the American version. It left a little more to the imagination, which is good for me because I do enjoy those movies that do leave some to the imagination. Now, granted, their faces still were twisted up, but it wasn't as CGI'd as it was in the original, or not the original, but the remake, the American version. But it was just, it was fantastic. And there's this scene where I'm so surprised that the American version didn't take to put into The Ring, where she comes out of the TV and, she's going to kill the husband, at the end, and it pans up to her face and the hair is covering her face. The only thing that you can see is her eye, and it is like huge, and it is just glaring right at him. Like, it is so creepy. any trailer that you find for this will show that scene if you want to see it. It is just freaking. It's eerie.
I think Samara would have Chucky pissing himself.
It's Samara, dude. You have no idea. I love Samara, and this was
I
her
love that.
her original form. You know what I mean? This was the first time that she was on screen, and I absolutely love this movie. Now, granted, I know subtitles aren't for everyone. I don't know if there's a translated version, which I'm sure that there is somewhere, but I've only seen it through subtitles, and you do lose a little bit of a context with like when you're reading subtitles and seeing the characters and everything. But it was just this is just a fantastic movie, and I can't if you guys haven't seen it, I definitely urge you to check it out. And that's my number 3, Ring.
So those are at the top of my list. The original, the Ring, and
You can't bring up The Ring without saying The Grudge. It seems like every time The Ring is brought up, the movie The Grudge is brought up too.
Well,
I was having a conversation with someone about that, and I'm guilty for it too. It's something special. That one is a little slower pace, but it's pretty much in some points it's scene for scene. Like when they took that movie because it did so well, they pretty much scene for scene it with different actors. Now the American version did add a few things, and they did a little more like flashbacks and things like that were somewhat kind of unnecessary for the simple fact that I find that if you have it, it happened in your head, and you kind of have your imagination to what it looked like, as opposed to say like, oh, okay, I see. Either you like it or you don't. But the Ring did really good with that. It did really good, and it was it didn't have a lot of fat on it. It just got to the point, and it went to the next scene and went to the next scene. Like it didn't have a lot of fluff on it. It was directly to the point. What a great movie. And again, check it out. I urge you guys to see it if you haven't already.
And it was so different too. And Michael, I love that. I love your passion for Samara, because I like Samara as well, but I will say I'm a little bit guilty of, kind of forgetting about her a little bit when you're talking about juggernauts and stuff. But you absolutely light up when you talk about Samara, and
Yeah.
and I love to see it. And she's an absolute animal.
Well, I mean, you think about it now, there's really no VHSs anymore. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
for
what
its
do you do
time.
at this point?
So
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They kind of wrote themselves into a corner with that. So I don't really see VHSs coming back anytime soon, or, they definitely have to do something
We
different,
got what
because
we got.
physical media altogether, is on the down. I think that the people keeping physical media together are the horror fans, to be honest with you. I don't really see, physical media on a whole. It's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Darkroom Secrets is saying, let's not forget Ray Liotta. He did really well.
Oh,
He was in he wasn't in Silence of the Lambs though, was he? He was in Hannibal. Yeah.
and he was so good.
Yeah. He was sitting. Yeah, he was. I
Oh,
loved Ray Liotta.
his
He was
scene-
awesome.
His scene was so disturbing. I'm with Darkroom Secrets. I'm with you, Kim. When I talk about Silence of the Lambs, that's always in the back of my mind too, because that scene was just so disturbing in the best way. He's literally eating his own brain and just smiling, making jokes, talking about how sexy Clarice looks and like flirting with her. It's just, he's happy-go-lucky why his brain is showing and he's eating it and talking about how good, it tastes. And it's so, so good.
All right. We're down to number 2.
So, okay.
Number 2.
Now, guys, I stick to my guns, and I just can't ever change that. There's movies that I know are better than this film, but daggone it, I watched the hell out of this film. I'm a Michael fan. true and true. Number 2, Halloween 6 for me comes in as number 2. This movie was a go-to when I was sick or whatever. My mom would rent the shit out of this at the video store. I've talked a bunch on this channel about Halloween 6, but what it comes down to, guys, and I mean that. I know a lot of these movies, when you're talking Silence of the Lambs, when you're talking Dusk Till Dawn, a lot of these movies are better, but that's what I'm saying. I stick to my guns. I love my Michael Myers, guys. That's what it comes down to. And this was a good one in the franchise for me. I love the way Michael looked. And when it comes down to it, Michael's my number one boy. That's all I got to say. I'm not going to go into 6. You guys all know 6. I'm a fan of 6. You guys know that by now. And the rewatchability for me, it surpasses the Silence of the Lambs. If you're saying you want to watch Silence of the Lambs or Halloween 6, I'm putting in Halloween 6. I got to see my boy. I think he looks incredible. So, yeah, I won't go on and on. Sticking to my guns.
I give you credit for that, man.
I'm a Halloween diehard, and well, thank you, Michael, because it's not easy to do because, and I mean that. Like, I know there's, better, made movies with bigger actors, bigger, everything. But when it comes to it, like for me, that's what I want to watch. I've watched the shit out of this movie, and I always will. So how can I put other things in front of that when I know it's not true? I just can't do it. So
I gotcha.
Number 2 is Halloween 6 for me.
Well, in our differences again, we did have a few of the same ones.
It shocked the shit out of me. It was awesome.
Yeah, we did.
While it lasted.
Yeah, while it lasted. Yeah. Number 2 for me, I got to go with the OG Scream. That movie, you talked for a while about this movie, and there's not a lot I can add to it. Other than,
I didn't mean to do that.
Huh?
I hope I didn't talk too long. I never mean to do that.
No, it's fine. Other than the fact that, the cast again, and the fact that they brought other horror movies into this movie. You got to see Halloween. They talked about The Exorcist. They talked about Prom Night. They were very relatable characters. And on top of that, it was a flip of everything that they have done before. The formula before was you had a killer, you had fodder, you had a final girl, and that's the story. Every Nightmare on Elm Street, every Friday the 13th, every sleepaway camp, every Halloween, you know what you're going to get with these movies. Okay, well, all these people are going to die. The only difference, being in Halloween where you had Loomis, you pretty much knew what you were going to get with every one of these. Well, Wes Craven, they flipped it. They flipped that movie and said, no, we're going to make the stars of this movie the kids. You know what I mean? The teenagers. And we're going to put it to where, there is no, there's Ghostface, but as the sequels go on, it's going to be a different Ghostface. The Ghostface is not going to be the thing that's in common in every, Scream. It's not going to be the same person. What's going to be the same person is the cast, the legacy cast. And now, of course, the newer cast. That's what you're rooting for in this, and again, Scream 6, it definitely wanted their cast to move on, but at the same time, it totally flipped the formula upside down. And we didn't know what we were going to get. Yeah, we lost a couple people, but, you had your core cast that was intact that always fought Ghostface, in the original. You had Sidney, you had Dewey, you had Gail, you had Randy, And some of these characters, they were so relatable. Like Randy, like I related to Randy a lot. I loved freaking movies when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. And this guy's just spouting off rules for horror movies, because when he brought that up, that was something that, wasn't really talked about too much, but it was correct.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, the rule is you can't do this. You can't, do drugs. You can't have sex. You can't say, I'll be right back. Those are all rules you can't say in a horror movie or else something happens to you, which looking back, at the time seeing that for the first time, I was like, damn, he's right. Those are the things that'll get you killed. And I think that it was just so new and so, it was so original, and only Wes Craven could do that. You know what I mean? Like he pulled out another one. I mean, how many people, they're going to make two of the big, horror movies like that. Two of the, that are going to spawn the sequels that are going to get, I mean, we're up to what? Scream 6, Nightmare on Elm Street made what? 7, 8 movies?
Two that
I mean?
at any given time can be on Mount Rushmore. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing the way that he did that. And it's Scream. It's the OG. It's 96. And that is my number 2. Before we get to number 1, though, let's go through the chat and see where we're at here. The Horror Corner is saying if they did a streaming version of Samara where she is on a streaming service, she can get people that way. I'm going to laugh. So, yeah, I don't see it working. Like that's the bad thing about, that series. They've kind of written themselves into a corner to where it's like now the things that made this person scary are obsolete. So, I mean, how are you going to maybe find a VHS tape at a garage sale that you're like, I really want to know what's on this tape. You know what I mean? But where's it going to go after that? It's just bad.
But Miles, I love that you're thinking and trying to keep that alive. I do. I respect that. It shows your love for Samara. And maybe they will be able to do something like that, but yeah, I just don't know.
Russell is saying his number 2 is The Frighteners. That's another one I got to go back and watch too. James is saying Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers is number 1. Darkroom Secrets is saying People Under the Stairs, The Sun. Oh, The Sun with Macaulay Culkin. That was shit.
The Good Son.
I'm thinking of The Good Son. Yeah. It and Fear, all great 90s movies.
Fear with Wahlberg?
I'm assuming that. You know what was another good one is Cape Fear. That was
she probably is saying The Good Son. Spoiler alert, I had that as an honorable mention because I love The Good Son. Love it.
Jeff DeAngelo saying, yes, Russell, love The Frighteners. Again, that's definitely one I have to go back and see. Lydia is saying, I'm a little surprised that nobody mentioned the Blair Witch Project yet.
Why?
Another great movie.
Have you seen it? Oh, why?
I like the Blair Witch. That's
you would.
Dark. All right, Halloween 6. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Jesus.
Blair Witch. It's a movie where nothing happens. Nothing.
No imagination.
Nothing happens.
Darkroom Secrets. You were right. The Good Son. My mistake. That was a good one.
I got you, Kim. I got you.
Russell saying Cape Fear with Robert De Niro. Yeah, that was another good one. Yeah. Definitely. Why don't we do honorable mentions before we do our number 1?
Oh shit.
Want to do some honorable mentions?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do. All right. I'll kick. So I didn't do a whole ton of honorable mentions, but I'm gonna say there's just, and I love honorable mentions because there's movies you cannot keep out. Leprechaun, 1993. Warwick Davis, guys. Badass. Like, who better to make a leprechaun creepy as shit? Warwick Davis. Nailed it. People forget because they started taking him into space and the hood. Yes, it got stupid. Leprechaun 1 and 2, don't forget about those guys. They were creepy as hell. They were great films. Warwick Davis, was amazing. So I got to give Leprechaun an honorable mention. I got to give The Ring an honorable mention. It was not in my top, and that's strictly on I'd say I'd go back to its rewatchability for me. But by no means do I disregard that film. It was different. Samara is the shit, Michael. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Honorable mention all day long for me. I got Dracula, and I'm talking about Bram Stoker's. Gary Oldman as Dracula, guys, was unbelievable. He's always been at the top of the food chain when it comes to actors for me. Gary Oldman is a beast, and the only thing I would have ever said with Bram Stoker's Dracula, I liked it. I just needed a bit more Dracula, man. If I could have had one or two more scenes where he's the vampire, it could have really done some numbers for me. But there's just very few shots, but great film. I've got to put that in there. I've got Army of Darkness, the third Evil Dead installment. Great addition to the franchise. It mixed horror and comedy beautifully. I have The Good Son. A lot of people don't think about The Good Son, but
it was a way different role than Home Alone, wasn't it?
It was, and it was so good. It was so good. Macaulay really impressed me. Macaulay Culkin impressed me with that one. Elijah Wood. It's got the suspense. It's man, and that's a hard one to watch. It doesn't. I mean, hard to find. It doesn't come up on anything. So it's a movie that I have not seen very often, but every chance I do get, I check that film out. It never disappoints. It holds up to the time. It's still good today. I'm gonna go. I've only got two more, and I'm going with Blade.
Yeah, Blade was good.
Wesley Snipes, Blade. I'm not the biggest vampire guy, but Blade was so good. And I'm gonna, I'll throw one more out there, and it's Interview with the Vampire. Yeah. The cast, the story, great films that absolutely, in my opinion, deserve an honorable mention.
I think that we've talked about all of my honorable mentions except for. I'll just rapid fire shoot them. Honorable mentions for me are Interview with the Vampire, Army of Darkness, Candyman, The People Under the Stairs, Bram Stoker's Dracula, The Sixth Sense. I don't think we talked about that. Cape Fear, I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Blair Witch Project, and Urban Legends. Those were my honorable mentions. I went through 10 of them up there, made a list of 10, and these are ones that I feel like, just because they weren't on the list doesn't mean that they were forgotten about. All good movies, all movies that I could pretty much watch anytime, except for one or two that are kind of longer, you know what I mean? But yeah, all good movies. But I really don't think that without Scream that there really would have been, I Know What You Did Last Summer or Urban Legends. I think that they kind of followed that same formula that Wes Craven put out with Scream, which there's nothing wrong with that. They were decent movies, all spawned sequels. I'm pretty sure about Urban Legends as well. That Urban Legends is one that I did watch, a couple times, but it's not something that I watched all the time, but I did like it. And having Danielle Harrison, it does not hurt it for sure.
And Michael, you said it best. That there is nothing wrong with that. Almost everything in horror has done it to an extent. They admitted one of your favorite franchises, Friday the 13th. They strictly admit that they were trying to capitalize on Halloween. That's why they brought that out. So Not a damn thing wrong with that, man. Everything comes from somewhere. So, yeah, I just had to say that.
Oh yeah.
But nothing wrong with that, you know.
Number one.
Now you copy something to a T. Uh, that's a different story. Stephen King's it. Can't argue with that, Jeff. Such a good one, man. I watched the shit out of that.
Russell saying, I'll pass on Troll 2. Troll 1 is the best.
I've not seen Troll, guys. Have you seen that one, Michael?
I have
Troll?
not.
Okay. Dude, he was such a good leprechaun. Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't know. Leprechaun is the ones that I probably saw like the first 3, and I was just, it kind of fizzled out for me.
That's all you needed.
Yeah.
Even 3 was taking it too far, but 1 and 2.
I think that after I saw 3, I was just like, yeah, I'm good.
1 and 2, solid. But it sucks because they had so many, duds that people forget about those, but those were good movies.
They were, definitely. A lot of love for Army of Darkness.
Nice, Miles, nice.
That's a steelbook copy that I own. I like Army of Darkness a lot. It's definitely good. Russell is saying his number 1, Nature of the Beast, Eric Roberts and Lance Hendrickson. Great movie.
I've never heard of that. Nature of the Beast.
Herbert West Understudy is saying Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, number 1.
Herbert West. Tom, it's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, man.
All right, Matt. I am curious to see what your number 1 is for the night.
I'm surprised you haven't nailed it down.
Is it H2O?
No.
That was in the 90s, right?
What's next? You think I'm going to put Halloween 6 in there or something?
Halloween 6 the second time around. Is my
Halloween 6, the uncut.
The producer's cut.
Yeah, the producer's
cut.
Yes. Yes. Number 1 for me, ladies and gentlemen, is The Crow.
The Crow.
Damn it, The Crow. Michael, you said everything about The Crow, and for me, it's just that times 10. I was nuts about The Crow. And I was talking to a good friend of mine earlier that horror for me is all about, it really is, it's all about art, the atmosphere, the character, how it all looks is what intrigues me. How the character looks, the atmosphere, and God, The Crow just, and I was saying that when this movie came out, I was really young. So I don't know what the reason was, but for whatever reason, I thought this movie was going to be almost like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a superhero type of thing. Like The Crow was kind of like a Spider-Man, or I thought it was going to be, this like family friendly, kind of like superhero thing. Then I watched them, like, this shit is dark, man. Like,
right.
What I expect. I was very young. It was not what I expected, but in the best way, man. Brandon Lee, rest in peace, man. Nobody can touch that role the way you did. And you were just getting started, my friend. But everything about it, the revenge, for what they did to him, you're rooting on him. The bad guys play their part to a T. And it just, for me, it comes down to just how amazing everything looked. Like, I wanted to be Brandon Lee, guys. I probably started growing my hair out the second I watched that movie. I was him 10 times for Halloween. I'm a Crow fanatic, man. I'm a Crow fanatic, and I never even watched City of Angels. I didn't even get to the second one because previews did it for me. Like it was nothing like what they did originally. With Brandon Lee and all of them. It should have been a one and done. And the movie is up here for me. It's way up there. I'm a Crow fanatic. I always will be. And as far as the 90s go, The Crow takes the cake for me.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
Love it.
I mean, it kind of like fell into that, I'm not gonna say like, how do I word this? So the way that The Crow was, the way it looked and the way it felt, it was very dark. It was
Whoa.
raining like the whole time, and just the way it was shot and the look of everything. I didn't get that sense again from another movie until Sin City came out. To where it was just like, wow, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is different. This is awesome. And those two movies, I know they have nothing to do with each other whatsoever.
Right,
But they
right.
always stick in my head as being those types of movies that I took one look at and was like, wow, this is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just, yeah. Like, Crow was so awesome, dude.
And almost like it was before its time too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, if The Crow came out today, it would still be cool. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it would, if it never existed in the 90s and it came out today, I think it would still be cool. Now, you would have to do a couple things to it to update it a little bit more.
Sure.
But I think that it's one of those things that would still be cool today.
Here's another thing I'm going to go on a limb, and this is by no, because I love Brandon Lee. I absolutely love Brandon Lee. This might sound weird. I don't know if anybody agrees. His acting was by no means like the best, but it was the best for that movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, he was just getting started, so I'm not knocking him. But by no means was he a Robert De Niro, a Tom Hanks. He was just getting started. But his like almost okay, I'd say, acting worked for that movie because it wasn't. I don't want that movie to be perfect. I would never want it to be perfect and polished. That's not how I visioned that particular movie. Does this make sense to anybody? But
it's a gritty movie.
It does to me.
It does. It's supposed to be gritty.
It's
not supposed to be,
yeah,
polished.
I don't want it polished. And the way he was just kind of, there was nothing over the top about his acting, but it worked, man.
It was by no means a polished movie.
It's something I always noticed. But it worked.
Yeah. Definitely. Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat here. 1 second here. Herbert West Understudy is saying, I know you did the top 80s horror movie, but I just watched Poltergeist 2 the other day. I forgot how damn creepy that scary Reverend is in that movie, Nightmare Fuel. Dude, Poltergeist, I think that it doesn't get the fear, from people because a lot of people see that it's rated PG. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh shit, it's PG. It's not going to be good. But man, there are a lot of things in the Poltergeist 1 and 2 that are freaking scary as shit. And I would have to agree with you. The Reverend as a kid scared me so freaking much.
You don't have to be dirty rated triple X to be creepy, dude. You can, yeah.
But I mean, that man, when they were filming that, he was dying, and it showed. You know what I mean? And when he was at that door, telling them to let him in as a kid, I was like, that's the scariest shit that could ever happen to me. You know what I mean? And that's just one of those things that stuck in my head. Like when we talk about Friday 3, with Jason at the window. That I agree with you 100%. That shit is nightmare fuel. As a kid, I was just like, holy shit. You know what I mean? I yes. 100% Herbert, yes.
Zelda, for me, Pet Cemetery was so creepy. She scared the shit out of me, dude. Yeah. You'll never get out of bed again. Like, no, dude. She freaked me the F out.
Jeff is saying, damn, I'm shocked. I really thought Matt's number 1 was going to be Predator 2.
We'll talk about that, Jeff. We will talk about that. Predators 2 is I love Predator, but Part 2 is one of my least favorites in the franchise. We'll talk about that, buddy.
The Crow, let's go. Tell them Eric Draven sends his regards. Almost sounds like Game of Thrones. Tell them he sends the regards. The Devil's Advocate and Ernest Scared Stupid.
I love it. I love Ernest Scared Stupid. Like, I love Ernest Scared Stupid. I watched that with my older brother and best buddy Raymond.
I'll tell you what, in general, I miss Ernest altogether.
I do too.
And not just from Scared Stupid, but like Ernest Goes to Camp. He was on the TV all the time doing those Trout Dairy commercials. You know what I mean? Like that dude was.
I miss him too, man.
Yeah, Jim Varney was awesome.
Yeah,
he really was,
brother. But yeah, of all the Ernest, Scared Stupid was my favorite, and I watched the shit out of it. Like, God, it's such like, and like if kids just want to like get in the mood for Halloween, guys, show them Ernest Scared Stupid, because if that don't get you in the mood for Halloween, Halloween's not for you.
Believe it or not, I think my favorite Ernest movie was Goes to Camp. I think that's the one I watched the most.
That's where he gets the turtle stuck on him, right? And they got to sing it off.
Yeah. I think I watched that movie 100 times when I was a kid. Yeah. I probably haven't seen that movie in 25 years either, though. Like, to be honest with you. Maybe if I'm not doing anything.
Somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to come over with a 12-pack of beer, and you want to do an Ernest like marathon?" I'm up for it. I'm up for it.
James is saying number 1 is Scream, best horror movie of the 90s. I mean, there's not a lot of argument for that. I mean, it all does come down to preference, but man, it's definitely
it's that and Ernest Scared Stupid, man. You know, it's right there. You know,
I feel bad that it wasn't even on my my honorable mentions. So Ernest Scared Stupid.
This list was hard. It was really hard. Like, don't feel bad. There's, you know, I didn't even think about Predator 2 until Jeff mentioned it. Like, you know,
know what I mean, Vern?
It definitely would have been an honorable mention, but it wouldn't have made my top 10.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Miles. Appreciate that, buddy. Russell is saying The Devil's Advocate is a great movie. It is, man. That movie was something different. Pacino, Keanu Reeves. Yeah, what a good movie. What a good movie. Jeff is saying Ernest Goes to Camp. See? It's now Russell, be nice. Jason Goes to Hell. What a terrible movie. It was so bad. Oh my God. This one I have to put James. It would be funny to see Ernest meets Jason. Like Ernest Goes to Camp.
Ernest Goes to Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah, Ernest Goes to Camp Crystal Lake. I would watch it. I'm not going to lie. First day opening night, I'd be there. I'm sorry. I love Friday 13th, and you can't go wrong with Ernest, right?
I'll get the popcorn, brother. I'll be there too.
It's you know, first night review, spoilers and everything, guaranteed.
Big ass popcorn bucket. Fucking watching Ernest Goes to Crystal Lake, dude. We're in for it.
Ernest Goes to Camp Crystal Lake. Get to my number 1. It's a movie that we've talked about a lot. You know, we went into the detail about this movie. You know, both of us, you know, talked about it earlier. Silence of the Lambs. My number 1 90s horror movie. There's so much in this movie to unpack. You know what I mean? It's psychological. Not only is it scary, not only is there action, you know, it's psychological. Like he is in her head the entire time, and that's one of the things that makes him so great. You know, scenes that stick out for me in Silence of the Lambs, you know, when he tears that guy's face off and he puts it over his own, you know, throws him in the elevator shaft. You know, it's absolutely, you know, genius how he gets out of there. So much in that movie. You touched on Buffalo Bill's acting and that whole situation. That situation alone is scary as shit, you know, by itself, you know, and what a great movie. I mean, that's one of those movies that you could watch for the first time today and be like, wow, that shit's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like it holds up very well. You know, it
Love
holds
your
up
suit.
very, very well. Yeah. I mean, he goes from like here to here through his conversations with her. You know, he can be serious 1 minute and then he's fucking with her the next minute. You know, he's so intelligent, you know, and it's just like, don't talk to him. Don't even freaking look at him.
Which is what
Yeah.
makes him so frightening. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
And that whole thing with her, you know, like you want answers from me, you know, and this is somebody that he likes. You know, he likes Starling.
Yeah.
And this is how you're gonna freaking treat her. You know what I mean?
Yes, he
Quid
does
pro
like
quo,
Starling.
Clarice. You know what I mean? Like you give me something, I'll give you something. You know, just
I
the
love
fact
that
he-
about it, that he
Yeah.
likes her.
Yeah.
I love
and,
it.
and I mean, he even, you know, called her at the end. You know, as he's walking, what a perfect ending. He's just walking off and blends in with the crowd. You know, that guy could, you know, before you knew that there was going to be more, like I didn't read the books. You know what I mean? So to me, when I saw that movie, that was all that existed in that story. And for him to walk off like he did in the end and just blend in with the crowd, I thought it was just fantastic. The ending alone was just great. But that movie from start to finish was fantastic. Definitely my number one. I knew when we said 90s that Silence of the Lamb was going to be my number one. I knew that it was. I absolutely love that movie.
And I knew The Crow was going to be not my number one as well. I had no clue how it would follow, but I knew The Crow, just for the impact it had on me.
Yeah.
But damn it, you can't go wrong with Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much with that. The Horror Corner is saying, yo, I'm so sorry, but I got to go to bed. See you next Sunday. We will see you next Sunday. Great to have you here.
No worries, Miles. Get you some sleep, and yeah, I'll see you next Sunday, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. James saying his eyes would pop out, no strings attached. Talking about Ernest. Ernest goes to Camp
I'm
Crystal
with
Lake.
you, Michael, because like it's like when Ernest passed, part of the '80s died in everyone. You know, he yeah, I miss him too, man.
Yeah. Russell is saying I was kidding about Jay. I know you were, buddy. I was just playing around. I know you were. Yeah, that wasn't even gonna make honorable mentions for me. And you know I'm a Friday guy. Shit, I got a Friday the 13th show.
Dude, if we can't kid in here, man, what are we doing? But yeah.
I almost was like my number one, Jason Goes to Hell. Like
I-
that almost came out of my mouth, you know, just joking around. But
For the record, I welcome jabs at myself. I can pick on myself better than anybody. But we keep it all friendly here. It's awesome.
yeah, definitely.
Hey,
You know, Lord of Illusions. I don't know if I've seen that movie. It's one that I'd have to watch to know if I've seen it or not. There are a lot of movies that I've seen and I don't know the titles for. And we talked a little bit about that on last stream when I was telling you, you know, I used to watch a lot of these on like HBO when I was a kid, and, you know, like Cinemax and stuff like that. And, you know, I'd start it and not know what it was called. You know what I mean? But I could go back and watch something and be like, oh shit, I've seen this.
And damn it, guys, it's hard to see all these horror movies. Like what? Because I have booths at the the flea market where I sell horror stuff. So I open those up thinking, yeah, I'm the horror guy. And all these people come in that have seen everything under the sun. I start feeling inadequate. I'm like, and here I call myself like this horror guy. Like, damn, there's some,
Like, this is my list. Here it is.
there's some
I'm gonna get to it.
There's some serious horror people out there. I'm like, have you ever had a job? Like, how do you have time to watch all these? But yeah, man, it's for everybody. There's movies that go under the radar we haven't seen. So,
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll watch a movie, someone will recommend like, hey, this is a great movie. And I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. And then I get halfway through it and I'm like, oh shit, I've seen this. I know what happens. I just never knew the name of it. I didn't know.
Where I screwed up, where I should have been like expanding myself and watching other horror films, I would find a couple I liked and just rewatch the shit out of them. So I did a lot of that, which, didn't pay off as far as my knowledge in horror.
Yeah. But it's so freaking fun, man. And I mean, we go through our lists, and the one thing that I wanted to do when me and Matt started doing this was rank a lot of things, so you kind of knew where we stood when we go on future projects. You know what I mean? Now, granted, things like Friday, things like Nightmare, things like Halloween, those lists, I have a feeling that we will definitely get to these, again, especially when it gets close to Halloween. I want to do a Halloween ranking, and we talked about that last year, or at the beginning of this year when we did our initial Halloween ranking. Like, hey, around Halloween, I want to rank Halloween again and see, look at the last, ranking that we did to see if anything's changed, and kind of expand on that. Like, where are you almost a year later around Halloween? Things like that. It's so fun to do. Polar is saying, I have an early morning, so I got to get to bed. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you, Polar. Thanks for modding tonight, and thank you for being here. And have a good night.
Yeah, thank you, Polar. And we will talk about Scream 6, my friend.
Dark Room Secrets, Interview with a Vampire, From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, both great movies. Both great movies. But these things are, fun to do. And next week we're gonna kind of take a break from ranking stuff, and I'm gonna give you guys some homework this week. This is something that I never do, but if you have not seen Black Christmas, I would like you to watch Black Christmas at some point this week, because I want to do the fan film It's Me, Billy on Sunday, and that is Dave McRae and Bruce's continuation from Black Christmas. They do an incredible fan film. The quality is amazing. And currently right now, they are Indiegogo funding It's Me, Billy 2 to wrap up the story. And if you didn't know, for It's Me, Billy 2, the original Russell, the original Black Christmas, they are getting, Olivia Hussey back to play Jess Bradford to wrap the story up. And if you don't know who she is, she was the main character in the original Black Christmas. So they are bringing back the original final girl from Black Christmas to help them wrap up their fan film. And, there is no idea of what happened to Billy. So they kind of get to end that out. So maybe we'll get to know a little bit more about Billy. Maybe we'll see Billy's down. We don't really know. But they are funding for that now. Last I checked, they were trying to hit 80,000. They were close to hitting 80,000. I think their goal is 120. Now this is Canadian money. So it's a little less, on our side, because they are in Canada and they are filming this, in Canada. But they have a whole lot of stuff, and it's a continuation from the original Black Christmas, 1974, that they will be doing it. That they will be doing the continuation to, and we'll be watching that on Sunday. I'm so excited about that one. It is about a 30-minute movie. It's not a really long one, so we'll mix it up with some other stuff. And just to clarify, it is the 1974 movie that they made the continuation to. So it is the original. It is the original Black Christmas, 1974, that they were continuing with It's Me, Billy. So we will be watching that on Sunday. I will definitely reach out to them to let them know that we are going to be watching their movie. And I will be, trying to help them check out their Indiegogo. How we do with fan films here. We love, what they're doing. If you find something you're interested in, it's horror fans helping out horror fans, doing stuff. It's great. Herbert West Understudy is saying, would Gremlins be considered a Christmas movie? I would say yes. I mean, the things that we're, I consider Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie. I know a lot of people consider Die Hard a Christmas movie. So yeah, why not? What do you think, Matt? You think Gremlins could be considered a Christmas movie?
I think we have to ask Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis said Die Hard was not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, so yeah, he seemed like the final judge on that. I think that comes down to whatever the hell you think it is, man. I really do. I look at Trains, Planes, and Automobiles as the best Thanksgiving movie. You know,
Well, it is a Thanksgiving movie.
so if you watch Gremlins and you think of Christmas time, then yeah, man, screw what anybody else thinks. It's a Christmas movie for you.
Dude, I love Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
You know what I'm saying? Dude, yeah, yeah. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, if a movie puts you in that time frame and has you thinking that holiday, that time, then that's what it is.
Hell yeah.
Is Enter Scared Stupid a Halloween movie? Yeah, absolutely it is. You know, so yeah.
Russell is saying
it's
yes, it
amazing.
is. Lydia's saying 100%.
There you
Jeff
go.
is saying yes.
There you go.
Allison is saying for sure.
There you go.
And Russell is saying Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Freaking love all you guys staying on here with us.
Oh yeah, man. This
Dude,
was freaking awesome. This
oh,
was an
It was so
easy
interesting.
list for me to put together for some reason
Hard
tonight,
for
but
me.
it was definitely it was definitely
And how we agreed on so much is crazy.
we had 3 that were like we had 2 that were the same.
No, yeah, I don't think people realize how crazy that was. Yeah. God.
Yeah, it's 1 in a million for us. I know it is.
Yep.
I know it is. But we always have the best people in here. And, you know, your guys' comments, I'm telling you, like, you guys will throw out movies, too, that I haven't seen, that Matt hasn't seen. It's like I'm sitting here like, oh, I need to check this out. Oh, I need to check this out.
And I already know with me that'll never stop. Like I'm telling you, man, when I opened that horror booth, I thought I was like the horror king. And oh my God, did I get kicked back a notch, man. About a year later, I'm like, no, I don't know shit.
Well,
These guys know some serious shit about horror, man. I'm like, I seriously, man, I started feeling inadequate.
here's the thing with that, man.
Like,
You know, what I intended opening this channel for was to not be the guy that knew everything, was be the guy to have a place for all of us to hang out and talk horror. You know what I mean? Like that was my dream for this channel. You know, and the fact that there are people that come in here and they have a good time and you know they're wanting to talk about these things. Yeah, of course. You know, you're definitely going to come across people that everybody has their own favorite type of horror in
gonna
the way that
learn
they look at
so
it.
much from our guest on here. Like,
Well, yeah, you have so many different people. And if so many different people have, like, let's say 25% of horror knowledge, you know what I mean? Because, you know, there are some people with 90, 80, you know, 100%, whatever. You know, they're going to be different sides to that. So you're going to see, you know, so many different, you know, opinions and what people think is their best, and that's just going to open up more for other people in the chat. Like, oh my God, your number 1 was People Under Stairs. I've never seen People Under Stairs. I need to check out People Under Stairs, you know?
right.
Otherwise, if everybody knew the same stuff, there would be no growing or no wanting to see other movies. For all I know, someone could have mentioned a movie on here that I haven't seen tonight, and I'm going to watch it, and it's going to be my new number 1 or my new number 3. You know what I mean? And to open that, you know, that avenue up for people to come together and be able to have these conversations, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. But I had a fantastic time tonight. I love the content tonight. I love talking about 90s horror. That was super fun. That was definitely super fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to next week too.
As soon as you told me about that we were doing the 90s, I was geeking.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's fun, man.
Guys, always my pleasure. Always.
Again, I just don't want to, you know, beat a dead horse with this. But if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't checked out Patreon yet and you like the content that you're seeing here and want more of this type of content and want to check out Patreon, that is patreon.com/movies and beyond. If you want to support the channel, that is a great way to do it. A lot of little different things on there. A couple different shows that we're doing. I actually have a show on Patreon that I call Real or Fake, to where we look at videos and we try to decide, is this real or is it fake? And I actually have one that I have not uploaded yet that I just finished editing to put up there that actually disturbed the hell out of me. So I'm curious to what all the Patreon
I'm a
members have to say.
Patreon.
Yeah, and
I
I
love
do
it.
want to give a shout out to all my
Check it
Patreons
out,
on here
guys.
for sure.
Check it out.
Matt Stevens, Mad Mom, aka Teresa Stevens, Lydia Angel, Val, and Jerry, all Patreon members checking out this content. We're also going through Stranger Things on Patreon, to where they're going to get ready to start filming the 5th and final season of Stranger Things. If you are a Stranger Things fan, we are going through all of the episodes currently on Patreon. So definitely check that out if you haven't already and you want to support the channel. That's another way to do so. But again, Matt, I've had a great time talking with you and all of these people in here and going over these 90s horror movies. So what a great show. Great people.
Absolutely.
Great people. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for today. Matt, do you have anything else that you want to tell everyone?
No, just thank you guys.
Yeah.
And like Michael touched on, I am a Patreon. I try my damnedest to check out what he has. I do have a very busy schedule, but if you're a horror fan, it's a no-brainer. It's great content, and just like what you saw tonight, it's fun. Highly recommend it. Thank you guys. It's just my pleasure to be here. Love you guys. Love the horror community. Can't wait to see you next Sunday.
All right, Matt, I'll talk to you for just a minute backstage, and everyone else, you guys have a great night, and it was great hanging out with you, and I will see you next time. Peace.